In my past life, I died on a rainy night while Guchen was celebrating his beloved's birthday. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at our wedding anniversary party. Guchen's beloved, Lin Weiwei, was pouring red wine over my head. Mrs. Gu, stop dreaming, you're just a stand-in one. As the cold rain, tainted with the scent of blood, flooded into my windpipe, I heard Lin Weiwei's sickly sweet, cooing voice coming from the other end of the phone call. Chen, the candle is about to go out. This was followed by Guchen's response, so gentle it felt unfamiliar. Coming, Weiwei. The dial tone severed my final, hoarse gasp for help. Guchen, it hurts, 1,000 times more than the pain of you not loving me. When I opened my eyes again, the glare from the crystal chandelier was blinding. The air was thick with the sickening warmth of champagne, perfume, and hollow pleasantries. Lin Weiwei, dressed in a pristine white haute couture gown, poured the liquid from her glass over my head before I could even react. Mrs. Gu. Lin Weiwei's voice was laced with mockery. Don't get the wrong idea, Chen just thought, the way you hang your head in silence, your silhouette bears a slight resemblance to mine. She leaned in and whispered, in a voice meant only for the two of us, just a cheap imitation keeping my seat warm. Did you really think you'd made it to the big leagues? I could even feel Guchen's gaze from the corner, detached, indifferent, as if it had nothing to do with him. I wiped the wine from my stinging eyes and slapped Lin Weiwei across the face at the same time. My eyes locked onto the glittering champagne tower on a waiter's tray a few steps away. Amidst the collective gasp and Guchen's suddenly darkened expression, I snatched up the heavy silver tray base to crash. The entire tray, along with all the champagne glasses on it, came crashing down on Lin Weiwei's head. The sharp crack of shattering glass mingled with Lin Weiwei's piercing shriek of a scream. Ah, my dress, my face, Su Nian, you're insane, Lin Weiwei screamed, trying to wipe the champagne from her face, only to cut her fingers on the broken glass. I let go, and the empty tray clattered onto the marble floor. Staring at Lin Weiwei before me, I forced a smile of utter coldness. Miss Lin, now we're alike, we're both in the same sorry state. Su Nian. A low growl, thick with suppressed fury, exploded behind me. A massive, bone-crushing force clamped down on my wrist. Guchen had somehow already rushed to stand before me. His usually handsome and aloof face was now a thundercloud of dark emotion. The sheer force of the pull sent me stumbling, nearly crashing into his arms. The familiar, sharp scent of sandalwood filled my nose, churning my stomach with a wave of even more intense nausea. The memory of him holding Lin Weiwei, whispering sweet nothings in a past life, superimposed itself over the image of his furious face now, tearing my mind apart. Guchen, you know that fire at your place 10 years ago, who did you think pulled you out of the ventilation duct? His body went rigid, and the grip on my wrist instinctively loosened for a moment. 3. It was me. I stared into his suddenly unfocused pupils, enunciating each word slowly and with absolute clarity. I was the one who dragged you back from the brink. His Adam's apple bobbed violently. I jerked my hand back so abruptly that Guchen, caught off guard, stumbled half a step backward. Mr. Gu, let's find a time to finalize the divorce. My voice regained its calm, even carrying a strange sense of relief. His breath seemed to catch for a moment. I didn't linger any longer. I just turned and walked away. I left it all behind me. Lin Weiwei's sobs, the guests' hushed whispers, and Guchen's heavy, almost tangible gaze. The moment I stepped through the banquet hall's heavy doors, a familiar, coppery tang of blood surged violently into my throat. I braced myself against the cold wall, seized by a fit of violent coughing, uncurling the hand I'd used to cover my mouth. I saw a stark, spreading stain of blood in my palm. The late-stage stomach cancer diagnosis lay quietly in my bag, right next to the divorce papers I had already signed. The red marks on my wrist, left by Guchen's grip, still ached. To defeat them would require a more meticulous plan, for I'm going to tear off Lin Weiwei's carefully cultivated mask of innocence and sophistication right in front of everyone. Sitting by the massive floor-to-ceiling window in the study, I opened my laptop. The sound of typing was especially sharp in the quiet room. Fragments of memory, overlooked in my past life, flooded my mind. Did Lin Weiwei really get this far relying solely on Guchen? That balding, gold ring-laden director Wang was a key player in a past life. Lin Weiwei drunkenly boasted that the night she secured her position as the principal understudy for the international dance troupe, the deal was sealed on director Wang's yacht. Hey, look something up for me and send it over as soon as you can. There was a faint, almost imperceptible rasp in my voice. Well, to what do I owe the honor, Your Highness? Pigs must be flying. Su Yang's teasing, flippant tone came through the line. I ignored it and simply waited in silence. Su Yang, my former best friend, who cut ties with me after I insisted on marrying Gu Shen. All right, send it over, he replied, his tone casual. A few hours later I leaned back in my chair, watching the files on the screen archive themselves, slow and steady. A wave of exhaustion washed over me, but it was overshadowed by a cold, sharp thrill. And now, we wait for this poison blade to strike, with perfect precision, at what Lin Weiwei holds most dear. 5. The opportunity arrived sooner than expected. 3 days later, at the City Arts Center, Lin Weiwei's first solo dance recital since returning home. Posters were everywhere, and the media played up her narrative of a phoenix-like rebirth and her persona as an artistic sprite as the primary sponsor. Gu Chen naturally occupied a front-row VIP seat wearing a wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses. I sat in the most inconspicuous corner at the back under the spotlight. Her every move was executed with flawless precision, drawing murmurs of awe and bursts of applause from the audience. How ironic. The lights came up for intermission, and a low hum of conversation filled the air. Excuse me, could I get by, please? I whispered something to the person next to me and headed for the restroom. The stall door locked with a click. In the dim light, my phone screen lit up. Sent. Anonymous tip-off materials have been delivered to the relevant department's inbox. My fingertips were ice cold. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. A few girls were touching up their makeup at the sinks. Vivi is in top form tonight. That fouette was absolutely stunning. Well, she's Mr. Gu's protege. How could she be anything less than brilliant? Shoo, keep your voice down. I lowered my head to wash my hands, the sound of running water drowning out their muffled laughter. The second half begins. Lin Weiwei was at the center of the stage, completing a breathtaking series of consecutive fouette turns. Bravo! An elderly gentleman nearby couldn't help but murmur his admiration just as the applause was about to erupt. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Several sharp, jarring phone notification tones rang out from different corners of the audience. What the hell? Someone in the front row muttered in annoyance. Oh my god, check your phones. A young girl covered her mouth in shock and thrust her screen towards her companion. What, Mr. Wang, embezzled the funds for the Poverty Alleviation Project, and these photos. That's not all. There's also that Lin Weiwei. Oh my god, the real name. Whistleblower report with all the attachments is posted. Who did this? Hello, what's going on? The group chat is blowing up. A man in the back row lowered his voice, urgently asking into his phone, his eyes glued to the screen. Fatty Wang got doxxed, and there's dirt on Lin Weiwei. Send it to me, quick. The hushed whispers instantly erupted into an uncontrollable commotion, bubbling through the audience like boiling water. Quiet, please be quiet, a staff member whispered urgently. What? Are you all incompetent? How did that information get leaked? In the front VIP section, Mr. Wang abruptly stood up, his chair scraping against the floor with a harsh screech. His face was a terrifying shade of ashen gray, the phone screen still glowing in his white-knuckled grip. Mr. Wang, Mr. Wang, the second half has just started. What are you? A middle-aged man wearing a work ID badge hurried forward to intervene. Get out of my way. He shoved the staff member aside roughly and stormed towards the exit without a backward glance. Out of my way. Everyone, move. On stage, Lin Weiwei's final pirouette was visibly unsteady. Her toe slipped, causing her to stumble half a step before she barely managed to regain her balance. Her signature sweet smile froze completely on her face, her eyes darting towards the audience in panic and terror. From the direction of the backstage, a tearful, accusatory voice could faintly be heard. What happened? Who did this? Where's my phone? I pulled my cap down lower and moved with the silent, yet tense, and shifting crowd toward the exit, passing by the entrance to a corridor. I happened to hear Gu Chen's voice coming from a half-open door. Find out the source immediately. Contain the story. Too late. Wang Dehai has already been taken away. Useless. Keep Lin Weiwei calm for now. Make sure she doesn't say anything reckless. 6. Just as I reached the entrance, I was blocked by a surging crowd and the blinding glare of camera flashes. Reporters swarmed the scene, blocking the theater's VIP exit. Miss Lin, is it true? The online rumors about your improper financial dealings and transactional relationship with Chairman Wang. Vivi, there are allegations that you secured your position in the international dance troupe through improper means. How do you respond, Mr. Gu? As Miss Lin's close friend and primary patron, were you aware of this situation? Surrounded by a frantic scrum of assistants and bodyguards, Lin Weiwei made a desperate and disheveled dash for her van. In the chaos, a jostling reporter's microphone jabbed her hard in the forehead, making her cry out in pain. Just then, Gu Chen's car pulled up nearby. His bodyguards fought to push the reporters back and opened the car door for him. Lin Weiwei threw herself forward as if clutching a lifeline, her scream choked with sobs. Save me. They're slandering me. It's all lies. It's that bitch Sun Yan who set me up. Gu Chen's movements froze. Lin Weiwei felt a chill run through her under his gaze, her forward lurch halting mid-motion. I stood in the clamorous shadows across the street, quietly watching the farce unfold. 7. In the end, Gu Chen did not let Lin Weiwei into his car. He gave his bodyguard a low-voiced order, the door closed, and the black luxury car drove off with cold indifference. Lin Weiwei was left alone, her face as pale as paper amidst the journalists' increasingly frenzied siege and interrogation. Good. The seed of suspicion in Gu Chen's heart had already begun to sprout. I turned and prepared to leave the clamor behind. I had only taken a few steps when a black Bentley glided silently to a stop beside me. The car window rolled down, revealing Gu Chen's impassive profile. Get in. His voice was low, yet it carried an undeniable command. My steps faltered. Without looking at him, I fixed my gaze on the distant, neon-lit billboard. Mr. Gu, why aren't you concerned about your Weiwei? She needs you right now. Sun Yan. He turned his head, his gaze heavy and fixed on me. Was it you who did all that? His tone wasn't accusatory, it felt more like a confirmation. I slowly took off my sunglasses, meeting his scrutinizing gaze. You flatter me, Mr. Gu. I let out a soft chuckle, the sound cutting clearly through the night breeze. I just lifted a corner of the filth that others wanted to keep hidden. What? Is your perfect goddess allowed to dance on a cloud, but no one else is allowed to see the mud on her feet? His jaw tightened, his gaze sharp as a blade. You hate her, so you resort to such underhanded tactics. Despicable. 8. Compared to her, who deliberately arranged that fatal car crash knowing I was dying of stomach cancer. Gu Chen, tell me, who's the real scumbag? That final sentence hung between us like a thunderclap. A car accident, stomach cancer. He repeated the words instinctively, his voice parched. Don't worry if you don't know, you'll find out soon enough. Without another glance at his suddenly pale face, I turned and prepared to leave. Lin Weiwei, this is just the beginning. Seeing that I was about to leave, Gu Chen immediately got out of the car to stop me. Was it you who saved me back then? Gu Chen's voice was hoarse, like a rusted, blunt knife. Does it matter? I shook off his hand and said, my voice icy. It's a bit late for that realization now, Mr. Gu. I paused deliberately, letting my gaze sweep over his pale, bloodless face. After all, your precious Weiwei is waiting for you to save her. Her precious reputation is worth far more than my life. With that, I turned and walked away, leaving him with that look of utter devastation on his face. 9. I turned on the computer, the screen's cold blue glow washing over my face. I clicked open the encrypted folder. Inside, a few files lay quietly waiting. Zhouya, Gu Chen's elegant stepmother, had meticulously concealed a secret for decades. Born in the slums, she clawed her way into high society through cosmetic surgery and a forged academic record. She later became the mistress of Gu Chen's father, Gu Hong, and ultimately succeeded in marrying him. She exploited the resources of the Gu group to embezzle assets for her good-for-nothing brother, a sum so vast it could land her in prison for life. The real kicker is that Lin Weiwei is actually the child she gave birth to. During her time as a mistress, almost no one knew about this. One anonymous tip after another, along with photographs, was sent out. By the time it was done, the first light of dawn was breaking. I leaned back in my chair and closed my dry, tired eyes. Deep within, that familiar, dull ache began to throb once more. This pain was a constant reminder that my time was limited. 10. My phone buzzed abruptly on the desk, its screen lighting up with Gu Chen's number. I didn't answer, letting it ring until it went to voicemail. Immediately after, a text message popped up. Just 4 words. Was it you? I gave a wry smile, silenced my phone, and placed it face down on the desk. Gu Chen, the bitter taste of betrayal by lies is only just beginning. 3 days later, the Gu Group's most important annual charity gala. The venue was chosen to be the most luxurious lakeside estate owned by the Gu family. 11. Lin Weiwei didn't show up. It seems the recent incident has kept her out of the public eye for the time being. Ignoring all the stares, I picked up a glass of champagne and made my way to a corner of the banquet hall. The dinner proceeded according to schedule. Gu Chen took the stage to deliver a speech on behalf of the group. His voice was steady, his demeanor as composed as ever, yet upon closer inspection, a lingering weariness and gloom were etched between his brows. Zhouya followed closely behind, speaking on behalf of the Gu Family Charitable Foundation. In a gentle tone, she recounted the foundation's many acts of benevolence. The very moment Zhouya finished speaking, a jarring burst of static suddenly screeched from the massive surround sound speakers lining the banquet hall. Everyone was stunned. Immediately after, a cold, mechanical male voice, digitally altered, cut clearly through all other noise, echoing throughout the entire banquet hall. Mrs. Gu, Madame Zhouya, you stand on that stage preaching about charity and virtue, Do you even remember your real name is Zhou Tsuehua? Do you remember the dilapidated tenement building in Chunfeng Alley where you were born? Shall I refresh everyone's memory with a photo of you before the plastic surgery? The entire hall fell deathly silent. You could hear a pin drop. The smile on Zhou Ya's face instantly froze. She stood frozen in place, her body beginning to tremble uncontrollably. The massive projection screen, which had been playing the Gu Corporation's promotional video, suddenly flashed. A high-definition, aged household registration document photo was enlarged. Name, Zhou Tsuehua. Place of origin, no, XX. Chunfeng Lane, XX City. Next to it was a photo of her in her youth, wearing a cheap floral blouse and sporting a rather dowdy braid, a far cry from the bejeweled, sophisticated lady she was now. Gasped. Some of the ladies in the audience couldn't suppress sharp gasps, their eyes alight with a mix of disdain and voyeuristic glee. No, it's fake, that's a lie, turn it off now. Zhou Ya finally snapped back to reality. Letting out a frantic, undignified scream, she lunged toward the control console, only to be instinctively blocked by the host standing beside her. The cold, electronic voice continued without pause, broadcasting even more damning content. Your actions in laundering money and transferring assets for your brother, Mr. Zhou Qiang, the illegal operations you conducted using the Gu Family Charity Foundation as a cover, have also been substantiated by detailed tip-off materials. Your meticulously crafted persona as a high society lady is nothing but a facade built on lies and dirty money. On the screen, meticulously selected evidence scrolled rapidly in sync with the narration. A soft thud echoed. It was Zhou Ya. Her strength finally gave out, her legs buckled, and she collapsed onto the polished stage floor. Her carefully styled hair tumbled loose, the expensive champagne-colored gown was crumpled into a heap, now smudged with dust. 12. The audience below erupted into chaos. Camera flashes went off like mad, relentlessly capturing the disheveled and despondent Zhou Ya. On stage, a tidal wave of gasps, murmurs, and scornful snickers washed over the scene. The high society ladies and socialites who once called her sister and showered her with flattery now, they one by one shied away, their faces etched with disgust and a cold, urgent desire to distance themselves. Guchen stood below the stage, his face ashen. His gaze was locked on his stepmother's breakdown on stage before it snapped violently toward me in the crowd. His eyes churned with a tempest of fury and the humiliation of having been played. He knew exactly who was pulling the strings behind it all. I met his gaze, and across the clamor and chaos, across the sea of blood and enmity, I raised my champagne glass in a distant toast. The liquid refracted a cold, glittering light under the brilliant chandeliers. I did not drink. Instead, I curled my lips into an excruciatingly slow, utterly malicious smile directed at him, a silent declaration of war. Gu Chen's gaze suddenly turned even more terrifying. He shoved the person blocking his way aside and charged towards me with long, swift strides. A terrifying, oppressive aura radiated from his entire being, as if he wanted to devour me whole. Just then, the banquet hall doors were flung open. Several figures in dark uniforms, their expressions grave, entered the room. The one at the front held up his identification, his voice booming and cutting through the chaos of the scene. Ms. Zhou Ya, we are from the Municipal Tax Bureau's Inspection Division and the Economic Crime Investigation Unit. You are suspected of large-scale tax evasion and illegal asset transfer. Please come with us to assist in the investigation. Hearing this, Zhou Ya, who had gone limp on the stage, rolled her eyes back and lost consciousness completely. The scene descended into utter chaos. Reporters swarmed in a frenzy, guests scrambled for cover, and security was completely overwhelmed. Gu Chen's charge toward me was brutally cut off by the surging crowd and the pandemonium. I stood my ground, watching the farce I had orchestrated with a cold, detached gaze. I watched Zhou Ya being carried away like a sack of trash, and I saw the look of frantic, helpless fury on Gu Chen's face amidst the chaos. I gently set the champagne flute down on the long table, the crystal giving a soft, clear clink. Zhou Ya, your dream of marrying into wealth is over. Your precious daughter, Lin Weiwei, is next. 13. Gu Chen ultimately failed to break through the chaotic wall of people. He was forcibly shielded by his assistant and bodyguards who had rushed over upon hearing the commotion. His face was so dark it seemed to drip with malice, his gaze fixed intently on me. The cool night breeze outside brushed against my face, slightly calming the bloody turmoil churning in my chest. The phone buzzed once in the bag, an encrypted message. The target has arrived at Emerald Bay Sanatorium. Emerald Bay, the city's most exclusive private sanatorium. It was also the refuge where Gu Chen had urgently placed Lin Weiwei after the yacht scandal. It seems Gu Chen had grown suspicious of Lin Weiwei, but for the sake of our long-standing relationship, I offered her a final refuge. I sneered back at the apartment. I immediately contacted a top-tier private investigation team. Keep a close watch on Emerald Bay, especially on anyone entering or leaving Lin Weiwei's hospital room. Pay particular attention to a caregiver named Zhongli. Zhongli was a mole Zhou Ye had planted by Lin Weiwei's side for years in her past life. Many of Zhou Ye's shady orders were relayed through this seemingly ordinary caregiver. Now that Zhou Ye is in hot water herself, what will her loyal lapdog do? I can't wait to find out. Sure enough, in less than 24 hours, the latest surveillance footage came through the corridor in the VIP wing of the sanatorium. Late at night, a woman in a nurse's uniform and a face mask slipped furtively into Lin Weiwei's hospital room. A few minutes later, she emerged, now holding a small USB drive. The private detective immediately sent the obtained footage and evidence anonymously to all the major media outlets. News broke quickly. Lin Weiwei was dismissed from the dance troupe for allegedly abusing her position for improper dealings, damaging the troupe's reputation. Her talent agency also announced the termination of her contract. Simultaneously, some media outlets released leaked authentic footage of her involvement in the yacht incident. In the video, Lin Weiwei is seen assisting Mr. Wang into a room. The release of this footage instantly sparked intense debate among netizens. 14 Gu Chen's reaction was even faster than anticipated. Late that night, after receiving the latest evidence, a fierce argument erupted in Lin Weiwei's VIP hospital room through the remote listening device planted by the detective. Gu Chen's roars and Lin Weiwei's hysterical screams came through clearly. Lies, all lies. Sun Yan fabricated them. Chen, believe me, Mom is talking nonsense. She's gone mad. She's only saying that to save herself, by dragging you into murder with her. That's saving herself. Then came the sound of Gu Chen's voice, gritted through clenched teeth. Lin Weiwei, look at me. Was it really you who saved me back then? That fragment of the school badge, did you leave it there? I tell me, so what if I did it? Lin Weiwei's voice suddenly rose to a shrill pitch, filled with a desperate, self-destructive madness. What's so great about that bitch Sun Yan? What makes her worthy of you? Why should she? My mother was right. She deserves to die. She should have died a long time ago. Smack! A sharp slap cut through her screams. This was followed by the dull thud of a heavy impact against the wall and Lin Weiwei's agonized shriek. From the listening device came the chaotic sound of shattering objects and Lin Weiwei's increasingly desperate, piercing cries for mercy. Gu Chen had clearly lost all control. Mr. Gu, calm down, Miss Lin. It seemed to be the voice of a bodyguard trying to intervene. Gu Chen's voice was like a thunderclap. Inform the hospital that from now on, the Gu family will not pay a single cent for her. Let her fend for herself. The surveillance signal cut off after a burst of harsh static. Early the next morning, an even more explosive piece of news rocketed to the top of the trending charts. Ballet goddess Lin Weiwei abandoned by sugar daddy, forcibly evicted from luxury sanatorium in the dead of night. 15 It shattered Zhou Ye's dignity and ruined Lin Weiwei. What remained was the mastermind behind this tragedy, and the core of my past life's misfortune, Gu Chen. A barrage of negative news caused the stock price of the Gu Group to plummet for days on end, fueling growing discontent among the shareholders. The Gu Group's greatest vulnerability was also the project into which Gu Chen had poured his heart and soul, the one on which he pinned his highest hopes. It was the Qinzhou Super Complex, located in the city's new core district. In my past life, I knew all the core data of this project, and more importantly, I knew exactly where its weaknesses lay. Through multiple legitimate fund and brokerage accounts, I initiated a precise short-selling operation. A tidal wave of capital surged through the market, silently eroding the Gu family's credit. Meanwhile, I reached out to Gu Chen's greatest business rival, Shen Ku, the ambitious and ruthless young master of the Hongyuan Group, at the top floor of Shen Ku's private club. Miss Su, you never cease to amaze me. Shen Ku's sharp eyes scrutinized me, with undisguised admiration and a hint of curiosity. How does it feel to personally push your ex-husband over the edge? You flatter me, President Shen. I took a sip of water, a dull ache throbbing intermittently in my stomach. It's simply a matter of mutual benefit. I provide the opportunity to bring down Gu Chen and the critical vulnerability of the sinking ship project, and you provide the capital and platform to devour the Gu Group and expand Hongyuan. Straight to the point. Shen Ku set down his glass and leaned forward slightly. I'm curious, Miss Su, what is it you want in return? The scraps left after the Gu family's collapse, or Gu Chen himself? I met his probing gaze, my eyes calm and unreadable. I want the Gu family empire to change hands completely, for Gu Chen to be utterly disgraced and left with nothing. As for the man himself, a cold, Sharp smile curved my lips. I want him to live, to consciously feel everything he has lost. That is my repayment. Shinku stared at me for a few seconds, then suddenly laughed, a spark of excitement at meeting a worthy opponent in his eyes. Deal: a financial strangulation targeting the Gu clan's Sink the Ship project. It was launched stealthily while Gu Chen was overwhelmed by the family scandal and internal turmoil within the conglomerate. 3 days later, at the headquarters of the Gu Group, the atmosphere in the top-floor chairman's office was as oppressive as the dead. Calm before a storm, Gu Chen stood before the massive floor-to-ceiling window. Outside, dark clouds gathered, mirroring the turmoil in his heart. The secretary pushed the door open cautiously, her face pale. Mr. Gu, Hongyuan Group. Hongyuan has just sent over a formal acquisition offer. It's for 51% controlling stake in the sinking ship project. Gu Chen whirled around sharply, his gaze as sharp as a blade. Shinku, where did he get the nerve? And the capital, Mr. Gu. The secretary's voice trembled. Our stock price hit the lower limit again at today's opening. The bank has rejected our emergency loan application, citing excessive risk, and what's more, the secretary swallowed hard. Hongyuan has allied with several overseas capital firms. They've already secretly acquired over 15% of our outstanding shares. Combined with this surprise attack on sinking ship, we might get out. Gu Chen let out a low, guttural roar, his voice hoarse and broken. The secretary, as if granted a pardon, hastily retreated from the room. Only the heavy sound of Gu Chen's breathing remained in the office. He walked to the expansive desk and slumped into the chair, burying his hands in his thick, dark hair. His mother's imprisonment, Lin Weiwei's lies and malice, the corporation teetering on the brink of collapse, and Sun Yan, the one he had personally pushed away. At that very moment, the office door was pushed open again without warning. The sharp click of high heels striking the floor shattered the deathly silence. Gu Chen's head snapped up. I stood at the door, my face a mask of indifference. Shen Ku stood half a step behind me, wearing a victor's smile. Mr. Gu, my voice was utterly calm, without a single ripple of emotion. Mr. Shen, representing the new controlling shareholder, is here to take over the sinking ship project and convene an emergency board meeting. Furthermore, in my capacity as a special advisor to Hongyuan Group, I am formally notifying you that, due to the significant reputational damage and poor decision-making you have recently caused the group, the board will propose your removal as chairman. Shinku seized the moment to hand over the chilling document, placing it on the desk before Gu Chen. Gu Chen's gaze was fixed intently on my face, his expression inscrutably complex. Sun Yan, his voice was hoarse, grating like sandpaper. Do you have to do this? I didn't answer him. Instead, I turned slightly, my gaze drifting out the window toward the direction of the Qinzhou construction site. Mr. Gu, I withdrew my gaze and looked at him. Do you understand now? Love will betray you, conscience can blind you, but money and power won't. They are loyal only to the victor. I raised my hand and pointed to the chairman's seat behind him, a symbol of power and status. Now, please leave my seat. 17. Shinku carried himself with the composure of a victor at the Gu Group board meeting. When the official announcement was made to take over the Shenzhou project and remove Gu Chen from his position as chairman, I quietly left the building. The last look Gu Chen gave me stirred but a faint ripple before swiftly sinking into the deeper currents of weariness and illness. He had lost everything. Everything he had was crumbling apart in my hands. This must have been the very side I longed to see most as I drew my last breath on that rainy night in my past life. Yet why does my heart feel so hollow, not filled with the fire of vengeance? Instead, it hisses in the cold wind, seeping with an even deeper chill. My phone vibrated in my pocket, a message from Shinku. The dust has settled. Consultant Su, a celebration. I declined. Both body and soul are crying out for silence. I still need to confirm one last thing. The news came quickly. The target has been placed under investigation by relevant authorities on suspicion of commercial bribery and embezzlement of the dance troupe's assets, and is subject to an exit ban. Currently in custody. The photos never arrived. Not needed anymore. Those names and endings that once could stir a tempest in my heart now yield nothing but a hollow, silent void, like a stone dropped into a deep pool. Not even a ripple cares to rise. Returning to that empty penthouse, a suffocating silence rushed to meet me. The cramps in my stomach tightened wave after wave, the metallic taste of blood at the back of my throat nearly impossible to suppress. I walked to the massive floor-to-ceiling window in the study and gazed at the view outside. This place was once my cage as Mrs. Gu. The doorbell rang out abruptly in the deathly silence once, then again, with a near-obsessive persistence. I didn't move, only he would ring the bell like that. The person outside seemed to lose patience. The faint sound of a key turning in the lock followed. He still has a key to this place, of course, legally, This house is still considered joint marital property. The door swung open. 18 Guchen stood in the doorway. In just a few days, he looked completely drained of all vitality. He gazed at me with profound intensity. Sun Yan, his voice was terribly hoarse, like sandpaper grating against his throat. Wei Wei, where is she? I turned slowly to face him. Does it matter? My voice was flat and devoid of any emotion. Isn't it a little too late for you to start showing concern for your Vivi now, Mr. Gu? He stumbled forward a step, his body swaying slightly. Tell me, Sun Yan, I know it's you. Where did you take her? His voice suddenly rose, trembling with a loss of control. Where did you take her? I repeated softly, the corner of my lips curling into a faint, icy arc. Probably, to the place she deserves, a place worthy of her scheming mind and filthy hands, just like your stepmother, Zhouya, going to the prison she deserves. You. Gu Chen's breathing suddenly turned ragged, veins bulged at his temples, and his fists clenched so tight it seemed he would lunge forward any second. Why? He growled, his voice ragged and broken. Why go this far? Destroying the Gu family, destroying me, isn't that enough? What about Wei Wei? It's not enough. I cut him off sharply. Of course it's not enough, Gu Chen, you're asking me why. I looked him straight in the eye. Because Lin Weiwei deserved to die. That's the truth. My voice was unnervingly calm. She wanted me dead, and she succeeded. My gaze locked onto him. Gu Chen, I'm dead. I died in the rain that night, beneath the wheels. My tone was flat, as if I were talking about someone else. It was the moment you hung up on my call for help to light a candle for Lin Weiwei. That makes you a murderer too, and now you ask me why. What gives you the right? The corner of my mouth twitched, devoid of any mirth. The information detonated in Gu Chen's mind like a bomb. He stumbled backward, his spine slamming against the door with a dull thud. Cancer, the car crash, me, the phone call, the rainy night, the birthday celebration. No, it can't be. He shook his head. You're here now. He stared at me intently, as if trying to confirm something. Why am I still alive? I'll finish it for him. Yes, I'd like to know too. Why did fate grant me a second life? Perhaps it was precisely so I could witness, with my own eyes, how each and every one of you would fall from grace into hell, and pay the most agonizing price for what you've done. The violent surge of emotion finally detonated the bomb that had been ticking inside me all along. A violent, racking cough seized me. I could no longer hold myself up, doubling over and clamping a hand tightly over my mouth. Warm, foul-smelling liquid forced its way through my fingers, dripping steadily onto the floor. A shocking, vivid crimson, stark under the harsh, pale light. 19 Yen. Gu Chen's pupils contracted sharply. He practically lunged forward, trying to catch me. Don't touch me. I mustered every ounce of strength to wrench my hand free from his grasp. My body, drained of all energy, staggered backward and slammed into the icy cold floor-to-ceiling window. I lifted my head, blood still smeared the corner of my mouth. My face was deathly pale, yet my eyes burned with an unsettling intensity. Gu Chen, look at my blood, I gasped. My voice faint, yet every word was enunciated with perfect clarity. So this is the thanks I get, your indulgence, Lin Weiwei's malice, Zhouya's schemes. You pushed me to this point, bit by bit. Are you satisfied now? No. Gu Chen stared at the shocking pool of blood on the floor, then at my deathly pale face. An immense tide of fear and remorse, cold as the sea, crashed over him and dragged him under. His knees buckled, and he fell heavily onto the icy floor. He looked up, his face streaked with tears. Nian, I'm so sorry. He was sobbing uncontrollably, his voice broken and ragged. I was blind. I was a fool. I'm the one who got you hurt. I'm sorry. Please, don't die. Don't leave. He reached out a trembling hand, wanting to touch me, but didn't dare. Seeing him in this unprecedented state of utter disarray, all the grievances, resentments, and despair from this life and the last surged over me like a tidal wave, only to recede the next second, leaving behind nothing but boundless exhaustion. Affection that comes too late is cheaper than dirt. Leaning against the cold glass for support, I steadied my faltering body and slowly straightened up. Gu Chen, my voice was terrifyingly calm. Your apology, your tears, your kneeling, they mean nothing to me. He jerked his head up, and through the blur of tears, only deeper despair remained in his eyes. I pointed at the glaring pool of blood on the ground, then tapped the spot over my own heart. And this place, this hollowed out part, it can never be filled again. Watching the color drain from his face in an instant, I continued, speaking the cruelest words in the calmest tone. This is your just deserts. As for my life, I gave a light cough, swallowing the metallic taste of blood rising in my throat. Whether fate claims me, and how, is my business, but it will absolutely have nothing more to do with you. No. Gu Chen let out a desperate roar. Without another glance in his direction, I walked straight past him. I headed for the door and pulled open its heavy weight. Beyond the door lay an empty corridor, an unknown fate, And, my own final battlefield 20. The elevator doors at the end of the corridor slid open without a sound. I stepped inside and pressed the button for the underground garage. The elevator descended, bringing a slight sensation of weightlessness. A violent pain surged in my gut once more. The metallic taste of blood in my throat nearly impossible to suppress. I leaned against the cold wall of the elevator car and slowly closed my eyes. Gu Chen, Lin Weiwei, Zhou, your debts have been settled. By my own hand, an understated black sedan glided silently to a stop in front of me. It was Shenke. The best hospital in City A has been contacted, and the specialist consultation can begin at any time. He was brief, his gaze sweeping over my pallid face. Are you sure you want to leave now? Don't you want to stay a little longer? What are you looking at? I pulled the car door open and got in, my movement slow and sluggish from exhaustion. To see the ruins of the Gu Empire's complete collapse, or to watch Gu Chen struggle like a stray dog with nowhere to go. I leaned back against the cool leather seat, closed my eyes, and my voice was heavy with weariness. It's over, Mr. Shen, as we agreed. The future proceeds from the sunken ship project, my share, all of it, is to be transferred into the Nianan Fund. Shenke fell silent for a moment, then started the car. Is it worth it, Sun Yan? Spending your final days to secure a future, one you may never even see. He was referring to the fund named after my mother, which is dedicated to supporting children with cancer from impoverished families. It's still better than wasting it on pointless hatred. I gazed out the window at the streets speeding past. At least those children still have a future. There's still a chance. Unlike me, a violent cough seized me without warning, and this time I could no longer hold it back. A warm, thick, and pungent liquid gushed from my mouth, staining my palm crimson. Sun Yan. Shenke's voice was uncharacteristically panicked as he jerked the steering wheel and pulled over. I waved a hand, gasping for air as my vision began to blur. To the hospital. Hurry. I managed to gasp out a few words. 21. The best hospital in City A, with spacious and bright wards. Gu Chen wasn't here, neither were Lin Weiwei nor Zhou, only the smell of antiseptic and the rhythmic beeping of monitors. Time moves slowly here. Pain is the constant backdrop. The brief, numbing respite from painkillers becomes a precious gasp for air. I drift in and out of consciousness, asleep most of the time. In my rare moments of clarity, I receive briefings from Shenke. The Gu Group has completed its bankruptcy liquidation, with the Qin Zhou project successfully acquired by Han Yuan. Zhou was sentenced to 25 years in prison in the first trial, convicted on multiple charges including tax evasion, money laundering, and fraud. Gu Chen sold off all his personal assets to repay debts and is currently missing. Final entry. Lin Weiwei was sentenced for commercial bribery and embezzlement of dance troupe funds, resulting in a lifetime ban from the arts industry. Reading these messages now, it feels as if the person who went through it all wasn't me. Late one night, a sharp pain tore me from my stupor. My mind was unnervingly clear, yet my body felt impossibly heavy at that very moment. The door to the hospital room was pushed open. Just a crack. A tall figure, almost melting into the shadows of the doorway. Gu Chen had actually found this place. I didn't call out or move. I just watched him quietly, as if he were a stranger who had nothing to do with me. He shuffled in step by step, his footsteps heavy and unsteady. He looked at my hand with the foreline, and at my face, pale and almost translucent beneath the oxygen mask. Nian, Nian Nian, he spoke, his voice thick with tears and laced with cautious hesitation. I'm too late. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. I was blind. I did this to you. Please, don't die. Don't leave me. He repeated the words incoherently, tears streaming down and splashing onto the floor. I watched this scene, a dead, hollow calm settling in my heart. No hatred, no satisfaction. His tears, his remorse, his abject humility, they all came far, far too late. My vision began to blur, my consciousness ebbing away like the tide. Gu Chen. With the last of my strength, my voice came out, muffled and indistinct through the oxygen mask. The man kneeling on the ground jerked his head up. Get out. I forced out the final word, with difficulty and clarity. His gaze was icy and hollow, devoid of any emotion. The light in Gu Chen's eyes went out in an instant. My gaze passed over his crumbling form. Consciousness sank into a warm darkness, and my body felt as if it were becoming very, very light. Finally, it was over. 22. 1 month later, in the solemn lawyer's office, Shenke sat expressionlessly behind the expansive desk. Across from him sat a gaunt man with hollow eyes. According to the will and notarized documents signed by Ms. Sun Yan before her passing, all her assets, totaling approximately 178 billion RMB, are to be unconditionally donated to the Nyenan Charity Foundation. The funds are designated to support the treatment and research for impoverished children with cancer in China. The lawyer's voice was calm and clear. Gu Chen's body swayed almost imperceptibly. 178 billion. She would rather give it all away to those children she never even knew then. Leave a single cent that would connect her to him in any way. Furthermore, the lawyer slid a document across the table. This is the deed of transfer for the only property under Ms. Sun Yan's name, a penthouse apartment in City A. She designated it as a gift to you. But the deed comes with one condition. The lawyer's voice remained steady. You must sign this permanent waiver, confirming the relinquishment of all claims to Ms. Sun Yan's estate, and any nominal rights of identity associated with her. Upon signing, the property rights will take effect immediately. Gu Chen's gaze fell upon the signature at the end of the document. His hand trembled as he picked up the pen, its tip hovering over the signature line. Unable to descend, the lawyer waited in silence, offering no. Time ticked by, second by second. Finally, a scalding tear fell onto the pristine white page, quickly blooming into a small, damp stain. Gu Chen finally signed his name. The lawyer collected the documents and, in a businesslike manner, handed him the keys to the apartment and an unsealed letter. This was left for you along with the will. Phoenix Hill Cemetery in the suburbs of City A. A starkly simple black marble headstone, bearing only 2 words, Sun Yan. Before the headstone lay a fresh bouquet of white lilies of the valley, still beaded with morning dew. Beside the bouquet, an opened envelope lay quietly. The wind lifted a corner of the letter, revealing a few lines of familiar handwriting, elegant, yet with a sharp edge. Gu Chen, keep the key safe. That was the cage that trapped me for half my life. Now, it belongs to you. Take a good, long look at that floor-to-ceiling window just as I did, day after day, watching your retreating figure. You can savor this bitterness, slowly. Don't bother mourning me. I'd find it distasteful. Sun Yan's final words. The end. Story 2. On the way to get their marriage license with Lu Yanchen, Su Jixia was struck by a falling billboard and hospitalized once again. Her spine was fractured, she suffered severe internal bleeding, and the 2-month-old fetus she was carrying was lost as a result. As she was just coming out of anesthesia, she overheard Lu Yanchen's doctor friend speaking in a hushed voice. Yanchen, you really went to extremes just to postpone the wedding. First it was oil on the stairs, then anaphylactic shock, and now you've tampered with a billboard, 1 centimeter off, and Su Jixia would have been dead. What's your next move? Outside the hospital room, Lu Yanchen lowered his eyelids slightly, meticulously cleaning his glasses. There won't be a next time. His buddy was stunned. No way, you're really going to marry that country bumpkin Su Jixia? What about Shen Wanqing? She came back to the country specifically for you. Lu Yanchen let out a sigh. Back then, the Su family perished trying to save the Lu family, leaving Su Jixia as the sole survivor. Grandfather arranged our marriage to fulfill our debt to our benefactors. I thought postponing the marriage registration 27 times would make Su Jixia back down. Who knew she'd cling to me so stubbornly, even losing a child in the process. Since that's how it is, I'll give Su Jixia what she wants. As for Wanqing, she will forever be the cinnabar mark on my heart, the moonlight I can never reach in this lifetime. Each word was like a blade of 1,000 cuts, carving Su Jixia's heart into a bloody, tattered mess. Had she not heard it with her own ears, she would never have dared believe that all 27 accidents on the way to get their marriage license were orchestrated by Lu Yanchen. The first time, she was hit by a car, breaking 3 ribs and confining her to a hospital bed for half a month. The second time, she accidentally fell into water and nearly drowned, requiring 3 days and nights of emergency resuscitation. The third time, her high heel snapped suddenly, sending her tumbling down the stairs and shattering her Achilles tendon. With each accident, Su Jixia endured unimaginable agony, clawing her way back from the brink of death. She had thought it was just her own rotten luck, never imagining that all of it was a scheme orchestrated by Lu Yanchen because he refused to marry her. Su Jixia's chest heaved violently, a coppery taste rising in her throat as her eyes brimmed with tears. This engagement was never what she wanted in the first place. 10 years ago, the Lu and Su families chartered a luxury cruise liner for a holiday, only to be struck by a maritime disaster midway. With rescue vessels in short supply, the Su family yielded their chance of survival to the Lu family, managing only to push their youngest daughter, Su Jixia, onto a boat. After the rescue boat had pulled away a certain distance, the cruise liner exploded into fragments right before Su Jixia's eyes. From that day on, Su Jixia became an orphan and was taken into the Lu family by the patriarch, Old Master Lu, as his adopted daughter. Everyone in the Lu household looked after Su Jixia with great care. Lu Yanchen, in particular, appointed himself as her guardian, showering her with meticulous affection and always rushing to protect her from any danger. Nourished by such enduring affection over the years, Su Jixia easily fell into the mistaken belief that Lu Yanchen also loved her deeply and, like her, looked forward to fulfilling the marriage arrangement decreed by old Master Lu. But now, the brutal reality had burst the last bubble of her fantasy. The monitor alarm sounded as Su Jixia's heart rate skyrocketed. Hearing the commotion, Lu Yanchen rushed in immediately and grasped Su Jixia's hand tightly. "Jixia, you're awake, you're finally awake." His beautiful, peach blossom eyes were brimming with deep affection, as if Su Jixia was his entire world. Seeing the tears welling in Su Jixia's eyes, Lu Yanchen's gaze flickered, heart aching. He brought her hand to his lips and pressed a gentle kiss to it. "Jixia, you're in so much pain, aren't you? It's all my fault for not protecting you. Don't be sad, everything will be alright, we can have another child." Hearing these words come from Lu Yanchen's mouth, Su Jixia found them utterly laughable and bitterly ironic. When she first found out she was pregnant last week, the whole family was overjoyed. Lu Yanchen was so thrilled he picked her up and spun her around, exclaiming his thanks to Su Jixia for making him a father. But that very night, Lu Yanchen locked himself alone in his study and smoked the night away. At the time, Lu Yanchen explained it away as having run into some trouble at work. Looking back now, he must have been figuring out how to stage another accident to keep delaying their marriage registration. Did Lu Yanchen want to keep the child? Perhaps he did, because when he saw Su Jixia pinned under the billboard, the panic and agony on his face as a pool of blood spread beneath her seemed all too real. At this thought, Su Jixia felt her heart shatter all over again. The child she had longed for, with its own vibrant life, had reawakened the father's guilt and conscience toward the mother. The warmth Su Jixia had longed for now felt like a raging fire, searing her spirit and skin, summoning her last ounce of strength. Su Jixia gritted her teeth and pulled her hand from Lu Yanchen's grasp. Lu Yanchen was momentarily stunned. Just as he was about to speak, his assistant's voice suddenly came from behind him. "Mr. Lu." Miss Shen Wanqing cut her hand while peeling an apple. "She's getting it bandaged at the surgery clinic downstairs." The moment the assistant finished speaking, Lu Yanchen shot to his feet as if struck by lightning, his face a mask of shock and anguish. "Wanqing is a pianist, her hands are God's own artwork. How could she be allowed to have an accident? What the hell are the people under me doing?" With a furious roar, he turned and strode swiftly out of the hospital room, as if he had completely forgotten Su Jixia was even there. 3 minutes later, a nurse entered the room and reached out to disconnect Su Jixia's pain relief pump. When Miss Shen complained of pain during her dressing change, Mr. Lu specifically requested the hospital's most advanced imported pain pump for her. "We have to get it from your supply." Su Jixia had no time to react. A sudden, overwhelming wave of pain racked her body with spasms, instantly drenching her blouse and back in cold sweat. "You'll just have to bear it for now. Every anesthesiologist in the hospital is on standby in Miss Shen's room. Someone will come to give you a painkiller injection once her wound is properly treated." After delivering this single sentence, the nurse turned and walked out without a backward glance. This hospital is part of the Lu family's holdings. Every medical staff member could see who Lu Yanchen truly cared about. How could they possibly misdirect their attentions? Su Jixia curled up in agony, tumbling heavily from the bed and crashing onto the floor. Crimson blood streamed from her torn wound. Just before her consciousness faded, Su Jixia glimpsed a figure rushing toward her, but she sank into a deep coma before she could make out their face. When she came to again, it was Shen Wanqing who was sitting by Su Jixia's hospital bed, dressed in a haute couture gown with impeccable makeup and not a hair out of place. She stood in stark contrast to the bloodied, disheveled Su Jixia lying on the bed. "Sister Jixia, you certainly know how to pick your moment to play the victim, don't you?" Shen Wanqing's smile was sweet, but her eyes were filled with icy coldness and contempt. "You've been injured so many times before and never made a fuss, but now you're using the loss of the child to make a big scene, desperate for Brother Yanchen to pity you. But what's the use? It took 3 days and nights of emergency treatment just to save your life, while all I had to do was mention a craving for Yunxiang Lu's pastries, and Brother Yanchen immediately left you to buy them for me." Unlike the obedient and kind facade she presented in front of Lu Yanchen, when alone with Su Jixia, Shen Wanqing always maintained this condescending, disdainful attitude, as if Su Jixia were nothing but a lowly insect. She poured a cup of scalding water from the thermos and brought it to Su Jixia's lips. "Before Brother Yanchen left, he asked me to take good care of you. Now that you're awake, here, have some hot water." The steam rising from the water made Su Jixia's eyes sting and water. She coughed violently a few times, the pain from her wound flaring up. With red-rimmed eyes, she glared at Shen Wanqing. If you don't want to take care of me, you can just leave. There's no need to humiliate me like this, Sister Zhixia. You're just being overly suspicious. I'm just trying to be nice and pour you some water. How is that humiliating you? Shen Wanqing smiled. But her movements brooked no refusal as she deliberately pushed the cup towards Su Zhixia's lips. Take a few sips. You're in your postpartum confinement period. You must drink warm water. Scalding hot water splashed out, searing half of Su Zhixia's face. Su Zhixia was already sensitive to pain, and without the pain pump, she immediately screamed in agony and scrambled to get away. At that very moment, Shen Wanqing pretended as if she had been struck, letting go and dropping the teacup onto the bed. Too, boiling water splashed onto Su Zhixia's wound, sending a painful spasm through her body. Yet Lu Yanchen, who had rushed in, didn't even glance her way. Instead, he anxiously grabbed Shen Wanqing's hand. Are you all right? Did you burn your hand? Shen Wanqing held up a hand with a delicate, affected posture, her lips forming a petulant pout. I'm sorry, Brother Yanchen. I really wanted to take good care of Sister Zhixia, but she said I was clumsy and even knocked over my teacup on purpose. Lu Yanchen saw the fingernail-sized burn on Shen Wanqing's hand, and his expression darkened instantly. He turned a furious gaze towards Su Zhixia. You know perfectly well that Wanqing is a pianist. Her hands are her most precious asset. Why would you burn her? By now, the wound on Su Zhixia's body was so badly burned that the skin had split open, and she couldn't stop trembling as she spoke. I didn't. She barely managed to utter those 3 words before Lu Yanchen cut her off impatiently. It seems I've spoiled you too much. To the point you've forgotten basic decency. Wanqing was kind enough to rush here and care for you the moment she heard you were in trouble, and this is how you repay her kindness, with such ingratitude. You don't deserve a single drop of water or a crumb of food until you've properly reflected on your mistakes and apologized sincerely to Wanqing. With that, Lu Yanchen left, holding the tear-streaked Shen Wanqing in his arms. From that day on, the medical staff indeed cut off Su Zhixia's food and water. If it weren't for the daily 4 drips of glucose and various life-sustaining medications, Su Zhixia would likely have died long ago. Yet even so, a week later, when Su Zhixia faced the assistant Lu Yanchen had sent to check on her, she still adamantly refused to apologize. I told you, I did nothing wrong. Shen Wanqing was the one who threw the water. She's the one who scalded me. Su Zhixia lay flat on her back in the hospital bed, tears glistening in the corners of her eyes. Seeing her gaunt, almost unrecognizable face, even her assistant couldn't bear it and spoke up to advise her. Miss Su, why are you putting yourself through this? Is being right or wrong really that important? Your wedding with Mr. Lu is next month. Surely you can't let this little disagreement drag on and not make up. Su Zhixia's fingers twitched slightly, and a bitter, mocking smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. It's fine, who knows, it might get cancelled again because of some unforeseen circumstance. The assistant, afraid that Su Zhixia had found something out, stared at her nervously for a long while. Only when she saw that Su had nothing more to say did she secretly breathe a sigh of relief and put on a smile. It definitely won't be cancelled this time, Miss Su. President Lu just likes to act tough. Deep down, he's always cared about you. He took care of every detail of the wedding himself, even designing the wedding dress you'll wear that day. Su Zhixia was taken aback for a moment. Lu Yanchen had studied sketching before and was as skilled as a professional, but he never mentioned designing a wedding dress for me. Su Zhixia murmured. The assistant said with an innocent look. Perhaps Mr. Lu intends to bring it out on the wedding day to give you a surprise. Yet, Su Zhixia felt not a shred of optimism in her heart. She knew Lu Yanchen's character. If someone truly mattered to him, the love he gave would be intense and passionate, impossible for the other person to miss. Besides, even if Lu Yanchen had truly prepared it for her, she no longer wanted it. After the assistant left, Su Zhixia propped herself up using the railing, sat up, and pulled out the 4-needle, gritting her teeth against the pain from her wound. She changed into a gray hoodie, gathered her hair, and put on a cap. She was already slender, and had grown alarmingly thin during this period. Dressed like this, from behind she looked just like a teenage boy. And so, when Su Zhixia left the ward and passed by the nurse's station, the medical staff inside merely glanced at her, noticing nothing out of the ordinary. After leaving the hospital, Su Zhixia hailed a cab and went straight to the Lu family's ancestral home. This was where Lu Yanchen's grandfather lived alone. Apart from major holidays, Lu Yanchen seldom visited. Is that Zhixia? Seeing Su Zhixia, old Master Lu didn't recognize her at first. How did you get so thin? how has Yanchen been taking care of you?" He took Su Jisha's hand and instructed the servants to prepare her a nutritious porridge, along with a dozen or so dishes she loved as a child, saying she needed to be properly nourished. Tears welled up in Su Jisha's eyes before old Master Lu could even ask her anything. She fell to her knees with a thud. "Grandfather, thank you for all these years of treating me as your own and raising me. I have a request, and I beg you to grant it." Old Master Lu's heart ached for her as he tried to pull her up. "Good child, get up quickly, whatever you say. Grandpa will agree. The floor is so cold." Su Jisha, however, did not move. With red-rimmed eyes, she declared firmly, "I want to call off my engagement to Lu Yanchen." "3, my child, why would you say such a thing out of the blue?" Old Master Lu was taken aback. Then, as if a thought struck him, his face flushed with anger. "It must be that boy Yanchen again. He must have done something to hurt you. Don't worry, Grandpa will teach him a lesson and make him come back to apologize to you." As he spoke, he was about to call Lu Yanchen, but was stopped by Su Jisha. "Grandpa," Su Jisha murmured, her head bowed, her voice thick with emotion. "It's my misfortune. I couldn't protect Lu Yanchen's child. The doctor said my body is severely damaged. There's no possibility of me having children in the future. The Lu family's business is vast and powerful. I can't hold Yanchen back. Please, just let me go." Old Master Lu's face was filled with anguish and heartache. "What on earth happened? If you still consider me your grandfather, tell me the truth." Su Jisha knew that if she told the truth, given old Master Lu's temperament, he would beat Lu Yanchen half to death and then force him to take responsibility and honor their engagement, so she just shook her head with tears in her eyes. "All these years, Lu Yanchen and I have only ever had a sibling-like affection. The engagement has always felt forced. If you truly care for me, you should wish for me to find a man I truly love and who truly loves me, not be trapped for a lifetime by nothing but duty and obligation. If you don't grant me this, I'd rather become a nun in a temple than marry Lu Yanchen." Old Master Lu's eyes brimmed with tears. He looked up, remained silent for a long while, and finally gave a nod. "Enough, enough. I'm old. I can't make sense of you young people's affairs anymore. But Jixia, you must remember this. You will always be a child of the Lu family. You are our kin. That will never change." Lu Yanchen arrived at the doorway just in time to hear old Master Lu utter those final words. He paused mid-step, lit a cigarette by the door to wait for Su Jixia, and fixed her with a scrutinizing gaze. "You sneaked out of the hospital just to talk to my grandfather about what?" Su Jixia knew that Lu Yanchen was afraid she would speak ill of Shen Wanqing in front of the old man. She clenched her fist. "It's nothing. We were just talking about the past." Lu Yanchen sneered, flicked his cigarette butt to the ground, and crushed it under the heel of his leather shoe. "Don't worry, I'll honor the marriage arrangement. You'll get your wish to enter the Lu family, so there's no need for you to keep bringing up my family's debt to the Su family in front of Grandpa." Over and over again, it was rare to see him lose control of his emotions like this, especially around Su Jixia. Most of the time, he played the part of the gentle, caring older brother perfectly, so these words must have been weighing on his mind for a long time, a source of deep discomfort. Su Jixia felt nothing but bitter amusement all these years. Not only had she never brought up the matter between their families to anyone, but she had also always offered words of comfort whenever old Master Lu reminisced about his old friend, skillfully steering the conversation to lighter topics to cheer him up. Yet, Lu Yanchen seemed utterly convinced she would resort to such petty tricks. For the first time, Su Jixia realized how despicable and contemptible she appeared in the heart of Lu Yanchen, the boy she'd grown up with. Overwhelmed by a surge of indignation, she staggered back a step. "Is this really how you see me?" Lu Yanchen had intended to say something, but at the sight of the tears and despair in Su Jixia's eyes, he merely sighed. "All right, fine, let's just say I misunderstood you. You never said it, okay." He took a handkerchief from his breast pocket and moved naturally to wipe Su Jixia's tears. Su Jixia, however, turned her head away, avoiding his hand. Lu Yanchen was taken aback for a moment. Just as he was about to speak, his phone rang. The moment he saw the caller's name, his expression softened immeasurably. "Wanqing, what's wrong?" "Brother Yanchen, my car broke down on the way. Can you come pick me up and take me home?" Shen Wanqing's voice was honeyed and sweet, as if she knew the other person couldn't refuse her. Sure enough, Lu Yanchen smiled with a look of utter fondness. "Send me the address, I'll be right there." As was his custom, once he left, he wouldn't be back until the next morning. Su Jixia had long grown accustomed to this and was just about to leave on her own when Lu Yanchen suddenly called out to her from behind. "Stop, you're coming with me." for ever since Shen Wanqing returned from abroad, Lu Yanchen had rarely driven Su Zhixia anywhere. When the car door opened, a row of plush toys was arranged on the passenger seat, along with a glittering sticker that read, "Reserved for Princess Wanqing." Seeing Su Zhixia freeze, a flicker of awkwardness crossed Lu Yanchen's face. Wanqing was just fooling around when she stuck that on. "Don't take it to heart," that's what he said, yet he made no move to peel the sticker off. Su Zhixia said nothing. She closed the side door and slid into the back seat. Lu Yanchen was a bit surprised. Glancing at her in the rearview mirror, the Su Zhixia of the past would never have been this patient. She would have cried, made a scene, begged him for an explanation, and demanded to know who was more important, her or Shen Wanqing. So why was she being so docile this time? Lu Yanchen was puzzled, but he kept his questions to himself. After all, he was about to pick up Shen Wanqing, and he'd much rather have her in the passenger seat than Su Zhixia. When Shen Wanqing got into the car at the shopping district, she was still holding chestnuts and a cup of bubble tea. Seeing Su Zhixia in the car, she was perfectly composed and even took the initiative to greet her. "Sister Zhixia, you're out of the hospital already, has your wound healed?" Even a blind man could see the glaring burn scar on Su Zhixia's face, making the question utterly redundant. Yet, Lu Yanchen still spoke up in her defense. "Zhixia, see how much Wanqing cares about you." In the past, Su Zhixia would have at least responded, whether with a perfunctory remark or a bit of a scene, but this time, she simply turned her head to gaze out the window, not sparing the two people in the front seat so much as a glance. It was as if she had merely hitched a ride and didn't know them at all. Shen Wanqing wouldn't just invite a snub for nothing. Instead, she made a pitiful, boohoo gesture towards Lu Yanchen. Lu Yanchen comfortingly ruffled her hair, while shooting a resentful glare at Su Zhixia. As the car started moving, Shen Wanqing peeled a chestnut and popped it right into Lu Yanchen's mouth. "Brother Yanchen, this chestnut is so sweet." Lu Yanchen didn't utter a word of protest. Opening his mouth and swallowing it down quite naturally, he seemed to have forgotten his own severe mysophobia because he couldn't stand any trash or filth in the car. Lu Yanchen never allowed Su Zhixia to eat or drink anything while riding. He even made her place a protective pad on the seat before sitting down whenever she was on her period. Yet now, he allowed Shen Wanqing to scatter chestnut shells everywhere and even let her feed him with her unsterilized hands. He even took a sip when Shen Wanqing held her half-finished milk tea to his lips. Watching them being all lovey-dovey from the back seat, Su Zhixia felt a tight, suffocating ache in her chest. There's no such thing as a true germaphobe, just someone who hasn't met the person they're physically drawn to. Seeing Lu Yanchen's blissful expression, she had no doubt that even if Shen Wanqing asked him to wash her underwear, he'd do it with utter delight. "Sister Zhixia, want a bite? It's really sweet, just like me." Shen Wanqing turned her head and said playfully, but Su Zhixia remained silent, still gazing out the window, perhaps worried the atmosphere would turn awkward. Lu Yanchen reassured her. "She doesn't know what's good for her, just ignore her." A trace of mockery played at the corner of Su Zhixia's lips. Did he really not know why she wouldn't eat it? Of course he knew, yet, to avoid letting Shen Wanqing's kindness go to waste, he chose to mock himself instead. "Well, isn't she just pitiful?" Shen Wanqing clicked her tongue in disapproval, listening to their taunts. Su Zhixia dug her fingernails deep into her own flesh. 5. The car drove for a long time before finally coming to a stop outside a small shop in the suburbs. "Tata, this is the place, my little hidden gem of a find." Shen Wanqing hopped out of the car, full of energy. "This little place is a real hole in the wall." But Su Zhixia knew that Lu Yanchen disliked these kinds of no-name joints the most. He thought they weren't clean or hygienic, and the food never suited his taste. They say the owner's ancestors were head chefs in the imperial kitchens. Their medicinal cuisine here is absolutely amazing. "I picked this place especially for you, Yanchen." Shen Wanqing stood on her tiptoes and affectionately tugged at Lu Yanchen's sleeve. Lu Yanchen reached out and gave her bottom a light pat. "What's this? Think I'm not strong enough and need some nourishment? Is that it? Oh, you're so annoying. Zhixia is watching, so don't bring your usual bad habits in front of her." "Okay." Shen Wanqing was bashful, hinting that this was their usual way of interacting. Only then did Su Zhixia realize that Lu Yanchen wasn't naturally aloof. In front of someone he liked, he could let his guard down and flirt without a care for his image. It was at this moment that Lu Yanchen realized the impropriety. He turned his head and glanced at Su Zhixia. "Wanqing knew you weren't fully recovered yet, so she specially picked out this medicinal cuisine restaurant for you. Aren't you going to thank her?" Su Zhixia never expected his response to be so absurd. Did he think she had gone deaf just now? But Lu Yanchen kept giving her meaningful looks. as if urging her to take the initiative to ease the tension with Shen Wanqing. Su Zhixia remained silent, even though she understood the reason Lu Yanchen had brought her here, but she had no intention of giving in. Let's just drop it, Brother Yanchen, please don't argue because of me. How about we go get something to eat first? Shen Wanqing tugged at Lu Yanchen's sleeve. Lu Yanchen frowned, but in the end, he patiently listened to Shen Wanqing. If you're too nice, it's easy for bad people to take advantage of you. He seemed to be saying it deliberately for Su Zhixia to hear. Su Zhixia held it in. Now that everything was clear with the old master, she no longer needed to torment her body and heart over Lu Yanchen. When the time came, she would leave of her own accord. Shen Wanqing pulled Lu Yanchen to sit down and enthusiastically began introducing the menu to him. Only after they had dawdled for over 10 minutes to place their order did Shen Wanqing look up. Feigning surprise, "Oh, sorry Zhixia, I always sit with Brother Yanchen when we go out. I forgot you were here today. Do you want to switch seats with me?" She started to get up, but Lu Yanchen firmly pressed her back down into her seat. "It's just a seat, she won't mind." Lu Yanchen poured her a cup of tea. Shen Wanqing, on the other hand, gave Su Zhixia a helpless look and shrugged. Soon, all the dishes were served, including a copper pot with a fire burning in the center. Lu Yanchen reminded Shen Wanqing to chew her food slowly and thoughtfully, and even thoughtfully fetched an apron for her, as if Shen Wanqing were some helpless infant who couldn't take care of herself. "Zhixia, your favorite red wine, would you like a glass?" Su Zhixia's face froze. Had he forgotten she had just miscarried, or did he simply not care if drinking caused her to hemorrhage? 6. The doctor said I haven't fully recovered yet, so I can't drink. Su Zhixia spoke slowly. Lu Yanchen was taken aback for a moment, as if remembering something. "Sister Zhixia, Brother Yanchen is just concerned about you. There's no need to be so confrontational, is there?" Shen Wanqing is a master at seizing opportunities. Take this very moment. For instance, in her words, Su Zhixia has become an ungrateful shrew. What's even more ridiculous is that Lu Yanchen actually agreed with her. "Forget it, it's my fault for insisting on bringing her today. I thought giving her an easy way out would make her apologize to you on her own. I overestimated her." Lu Yanchen shook his head, a look of disappointment on his face. Su Zhixia bit her lip, regretting why she hadn't refused to let him come along from the very beginning. Shen Wanqing, however, remained completely unaffected, her cheeks quickly flushing as she sipped the red wine. "By the way, Sister Zhixia, to congratulate you on your upcoming wedding, I've specially designed a ring for you." Shen Wanqing suddenly pulled a gift box from her pocket. Su Zhixia's heart skipped a beat. She knew very well that Shen Wanqing was not that kind-hearted. "No, thank you." Su Zhixia refused immediately. Shen Wanqing's face fell instantly upon hearing this, and she looked at Lu Yanchen with a hint of grievance. "Su Zhixia, could you try to be a little more reasonable?" Lu Yanchen took a deep breath. "Have I spoiled you rotten by being too nice all this time? Wanqing is my closest friend. How dare you refuse her thoughtful wedding gift?" He frowned, his expression darkening. Su Zhixia was momentarily lost in thought. Had he really been spoiling her that much? Indeed, in many matters, Lu Yanchen conducted himself with impeccable propriety, creating the illusion that he was utterly indulgent toward her. Yet, the moment Shen Wanqing was involved, that veneer of propriety would vanish without a trace. By comparison, she was the one who truly upheld her dignity. "All right, I'll accept it." Su Zhixia accepted it with a hoarse voice. Shen Wanqing's eyes lit up. "Zhixia, try it on. I'll hold your ring for you," she urged eagerly. "No, it's fine." Before Su Zhixia could finish her refusal, Shen Wanqing had already reached out to take it. In the struggle, the ring on Su Zhixia's finger tumbled and fell into the firewood at the center of the copper pot, causing the flames to instantly leap high. "Ah!" Shen Wanqing clutched her hand with great exaggeration. The leaping flame had just singed her hand. Lu Yanchen immediately stood up and anxiously grabbed Shen Wanqing's hand. "Does it hurt? I'll take you to the hospital right now." But Su Zhixia called out to the shopkeeper in a panic. "My ring fell in there. Could you please help me find it?" Su Zhixia was beside herself with worry. Her ring was made of resin. It was far more than just a piece of jewelry. It was handcrafted by her mother, her sole tangible connection to her memory. But Lu Yanchen stopped the shopkeeper. "Don't you have any burn ointment? Hurry up and get it for us." The shopkeeper was momentarily at a loss. He glanced at the impeccably dressed Lu Yanchen, then at the rather ordinary-looking Su Zhixia, and finally went to search for the shop's burn ointment. Su Zhixia was stunned, but in the end, she had no choice but to search for it on her own. But by the time she found it, the ring had already mostly melted. "I'm so sorry, Zhixia," I didn't mean to. Shen Wanqing burst into tears before she could even finish her sentence. Su Jixia jerked her head up, her eyes bloodshot as she glared at her. It was her. She was the one who had destroyed her only remaining connection to her mother. She wished she could kill Shen Wanqing, but Lu Yanchen, after carefully applying ointment to Shen Wanqing's wound, turned a cold gaze towards her. Su Jixia, apologized to Wanqing. 7. Su Jixia froze. You want me to apologize to her? Lu Yanchen stared at her coldly, stepped forward, and threw the ring she had retrieved out the door. What else? The ring Wanqing gave you is worth a fortune, and you burned her for that. Worthless piece of junk. Don't you know in your heart how important her fingers are? Is it because you were burned yourself that you're specifically targeting Wanqing? He grew more and more agitated as he spoke. The wound in Su Jixia's heart was cut deeper and deeper. She can't even string a complete sentence together now. Lu Yanchen, do you have any idea what that ring is? Lu Yanchen cut her off coldly. I don't want to hear your excuses. Are you going to apologize or not? If you don't, you can walk home by yourself today. Su Jixia's face turned deathly pale. He really did forget when she was 15, she lost her ring by the sea. He chased the waves to retrieve it for her, nearly getting swept away himself. I understand, Su Jixia said, lowering her head just as Lu Yanchen breathed a sigh of relief. He heard her say, I'll walk back myself. I won't trouble you. Lu Yanchen froze, a flicker of anger crossing his face. Why won't you just apologize? He was frustrated, but Su Jixia had already lost all hope in him. I'm leaving. Su Jixia staggered to her feet, threw the ring Shen Wanqing had given her back, and then walked out. A flicker of pity flashed in Lu Yanchen's eyes. Ah, brother Yanchen, my hand hurts so much. Shen Wanqing timely called out to him. Sure enough, Lu Yanchen anxiously stepped forward to check on her, blowing on her hand to soothe it and wiping away her tears. Su Jixia picked up the broken ring, now only half remained, and carefully wrapped it up. This was the remote outskirts. Unable to hail a cab or flag down a random car, she had no choice but to trudge back step by step. Before long, she spotted Lu Yanchen's car, but the car didn't stop. It drove on into the distance. In the car, Shen Wanqing asked with feigned concern, Brother Yanchen, are we really just going to leave Sister Jixia behind? Lu Yanchen replied with a placid expression, You're right. She's been acting out because she's always taken my favor for granted. It's time she learned a lesson. Upon hearing this, a faint, almost imperceptible smile touched the corners of Shen Wanqing's lips. Su Jixia walked on and on. When her high heels began to chafe, she simply took them off and continued slowly, barefoot in the heavy rain. She could only walk a stretch and then stop, but because of the downpour, she couldn't even hail a cab. In the end, she had no choice but to walk all the way back to the Lu residence. Jixia, how did you get so drenched? Old Master Lu hurried out after. Receiving the butler's notification, Su Jixia shook her head, her eyes devoid of any light. A flicker of pity crossed Old Master Lu's eyes. Has that rascal Yanchen been bullying you again? When the girl came to him this morning saying she didn't want to get married, he had wondered if it was because of his grandson. Now it seemed that was indeed the case. Grandpa Lu, I'd like to go back and rest. Su Jixia still offered no explanation. Old Master Lu sighed and had no choice but to agree for the time being. He then instructed the kitchen to prepare some supper for Su Jixia and sent the family doctor to check on her. Only after confirming she was alright did he leave. Finally at ease, Su Jixia had little appetite. The delicious food passed through her stomach only to be thrown back up. She had no choice but to go back and rest, but the moment she lay down, her phone received a video. When she opened it, the screen showed a man and a woman engaged in an intimate act. See, I'm the only one who can get Brother Yanchen this excited. The sender didn't identify themselves, but Su Jixia knew exactly who she was. 8. Su Jixia submerged herself deep into the bathtub, letting the warm water envelop her body as if it could shut out all the pain. She held her breath until she reached her limit before suddenly lifting her head. Water droplets rolled down her hair, mingling with the tears that spilled from the corners of her eyes until they were indistinguishable from one another. Despite all the grievances she had suffered in the Lu family, she had never once considered leaving. Grandpa Lu treated her like his own granddaughter, and Father Lu gave her paternal care and affection, kindnesses she had yet to repay. But now she finally understood that perhaps leaving Lu Yanchen and the Lu family for good was the best way to protect herself. The next morning, Su Jixia woke up unusually early. She liquidated all the assets she had accumulated over the years, one by one, even reluctantly, selling those precious gifts at a low price. During her years working at the Lu Group, she had indeed amassed a considerable fortune, enough for her to live comfortably anywhere in the world. In the evening, As she dragged her weary body back to the Liu residence, the butler hurried over to her. "Young madam, the young master has been looking for you several times." He seemed quite anxious. Su Jixia frowned. She had deliberately left her phone behind when she went out, precisely to prevent Liu Yanchen from discovering her plan. After packing the last few personal items, she finally dialed that familiar number. "What is it?" She struggled to keep her voice sounding calm and steady. "Come to your family's cemetery." Liu Yanchen's voice was as cold as ice, and he hung up before she could respond. Su Jixia's fingers gripping the phone turned slightly white. In the end, she called a car to head for the cemetery. Although Liu Yanchen hadn't specified the exact location, she knew all too well he would be at that lavish mausoleum the Liu family had specially built for her family, a gesture of gratitude for saving their lives. But when she arrived, the sight before her froze the blood in her veins. Bulldozers and excavators were wantonly destroying the place where her family rested in peace, the sound of shattering tombstones like daggers piercing her heart. "Stop," she screamed, rushing forward like a madwoman and throwing her arms wide to block the bulldozer, her eyes red and filled with utter despair. "This is my family's cemetery. Who gave you permission to do this?" The driver, startled, jumped out of his cab and was about to unleash a torrent of abuse when a cold voice cut through the air from nearby. "I gave my permission." Su Jixia whirled around, meeting Liu Yanchen's frosty gaze. Staggering forward, she clutched at his lapel, her voice trembling. "Why, Liu Yanchen, why are you doing this to me?" The man mercilessly shook her off, his eyes filled with disgust. "What happened with Wan Qing that night was just a mistake. I was drunk, and she said she wouldn't make a fuss. But you, what did you do to her?" Su Jixia stared at him blankly, her lips quivering. "I don't understand what you're talking about." Still pretending, Liu Yanchen slammed a phone into her face. "I'm the one who slept with Wan Qing. If you want revenge, come at me." "But you actually hired someone to take secret photos and sent threatening messages to her." "Su Jixia, I really underestimated you." Su Ji trembled as she picked up the phone. When she saw the falsified message records on the screen, her world completely shattered. What was originally a provocative video sent by Shen Wanqing had now been altered to look like threatening messages she had sent to the other woman. "You bitch, if you don't leave Yanchen, I'll post these videos online and ruin your reputation." 9. Su Jixia's mind went blank, a buzzing sound filling her ears. How could she possibly do such a thing? How could she utter such vicious words? This was clearly a calculated, malicious frame-up. "So in your heart, I'm just that kind of unscrupulous person, is that it?" Su Jixia lifted her head, her gaze burning as she stared directly at Liu Yanchen, each word seeming to be forced through gritted teeth. "Who else?" Liu Yanchen shot back without hesitation, his gaze as cold as ice. "Who else but you would do something like this? Do you have any idea? Because of your vicious threats, Wan Qing had an emotional breakdown. She ran out in the middle of the night and was hit by a car." He grew more agitated as he spoke, a vein throbbing at his temple. "Her most important concert is coming up, the opportunity she's trained over a decade for, and now it's all ruined." He took a step forward and roared, "You destroyed the thing she held most precious. Now I'm going to destroy what you hold most precious." Su Jixia trembled from head to toe, her nails digging deep into her palms. She slowly turned her head to gaze at the cemetery, now reduced to ruins, where her most beloved family members rested in peace. After a long silence, she spoke in a hoarse voice, so faint it was almost inaudible. "All right, I understand." She lifted her head, a resolute smile appearing on her pale face. "From this day forward, I have no connection whatsoever to the Liu family." With that, she turned and walked away without another glance at Liu Yanchen. She knew that in his heart, she would never measure up to Shen Wanqing. She had once naively believed that even if they couldn't be husband and wife, they could at least be like siblings. Now she realized it had all been a foolish delusion. Liu Yanchen watched her resolute, retreating figure, and an inexplicable, indescribable irritation welled up in his chest. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. "Boss, should we keep going?" the excavator operator asked cautiously. Liu Yanchen waved his hand in frustration. "Stop it." He had only meant to teach Su Jixia a lesson, to make her bow her head and admit her mistake. How had it come to this? Just then, his phone rang. It was Shen Wanqing calling. "Brother Yanchen, you didn't really listen to what I said and go desecrate Jixia's family graves, did you?" Her voice was choked with tears. "I know Sister Jixia just acted on impulse. She couldn't have meant it. It's all my fault. If I hadn't lost control that night, she wouldn't hate me so much." Normally, Liu Yanchen would have comforted her with a pained heart, but today, for some reason, her words grated on his ears as if Possessed, he probed tentatively. Don't worry, no matter how angry I get, I wouldn't stoop so low as to desecrate someone's ancestral graves. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line, followed by Shen Wanqing's surprised voice. You didn't go. She seemed to realize her outburst and quickly added, it's good you didn't go. I'll only be in the hospital for a week anyway. Sure, I'll miss the concert. Her voice trembled with tears again, but Sister Jisha's family gravesite is far more important than my concert, right? These words only made Lu Yanchen more agitated. Could a concert really be more important than someone else's ancestral graves? It suddenly dawned on him. If he knew desecrating someone's ancestral graves was wrong, why was he even considering it? He only wanted to get justice for Shen Wanqing. He didn't actually hate Su Jixia. I'll find a way to make Su Jixia apologize to you. But her whole family has shown great kindness to mine. I would never do something like desecrate her family's graves. Without giving Shen Wanqing a chance to speak, Lu Yanchen hastily hung up the phone. He then tried calling Su Jixia, but her phone was switched off. He consoled himself, thinking that just like last time when Su Jixia didn't answer, maybe her phone had simply run out of battery this time. Tear down all the outer walls and rebuild them. Get me the best construction crew. I want to see a brand new cemetery in 72 hours, the waiting worker couldn't understand why they had to build something right after they just finished digging, but you can't afford to offend the one paying the bills, so in the end, he just scratched his head and agreed. 10 Meanwhile, Su Jixia booked a flight for the early hours of the morning. She no longer cared about the wedding, or the Lu family. All she wanted now was to leave this place of heartbreak forever. The day before her departure, Su Jixia went to see Old Master Lu. Grandfather Lu, I'm so grateful for your care all these years, but I wish to go out and see the world. Old Master Lu was taken aback by the words, yet not entirely surprised. To be honest, from the moment you first said you didn't want to marry Yanchen, I already knew you would leave. I'm sorry, child. It's my fault for not taking better care of you. Even if Su Jixia didn't say it, he knew his grandson must have fallen short. Jixia has been a sensible and capable child since she was young. He had originally planned to entrust the most important family affairs to her management once she married into the Lu family. Now, there's no point in saying any of that. Su Jixia was also reluctant to part with the old master, but she pursed her lips and said, please don't tell Yanchen for now. Old Master Lu nodded in agreement. I understand. If he weren't worried about affecting Su Jixia, he would have confronted his grandson long ago, but the girl didn't dare tell the truth, knowing full well his temper and fearing he would reprimand Lu Yanchen. He knew his grandson's temperament all too well. If told that Su Jixia was leaving, he would undoubtedly force her to stay, but forcing things never ends well. He didn't want to cause Jixia any more heartache. Su Jixia breathed a sigh of relief, bowed once more to Old Master Lu in thanks, then turned and walked out. In the early hours of the morning, she boarded that flight bound for abroad. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lu Yanchen was still supervising the work at the cemetery site when Shen Wanqing called him. Brother Yanchen, I miss you. Could you come to the hospital to see me? It's very late. You should get some rest. This was the first time Lu Yanchen had ever turned Shen Wanqing down, and he had no idea just how unusual that was. But I'm in so much pain. I've called a professional doctor to see you. You'll be fine. I need to go back and talk to Jixia first. With that, he hung up the phone. On the other end, Shen Wanqing was utterly stunned. She never dreamed Lu Yanchen could change so drastically. What kind of spell has that bitch Su Jixia cast on him? Furious, she swept everything off her nightstand, her eyes blazing with rage. Just as she was losing her mind, someone turned the doorknob at the entrance. Shen Wanqing immediately feigned paralysis and lay back down on the bed. Is that you, Brother Yanchen? You said you weren't coming, trying to surprise me, aren't you? She wore a bashful expression. However, the man who entered was someone else entirely. Is that you? Shen Wanqing muttered a couple of words, but the other person just chuckled and sat down beside her. Stop pretending, you know you missed me. The man pulled Shen Wanqing into his embrace. She offered a token resistance before yielding, and soon, the hospital room was filled with sounds that would make anyone blush. A dozen minutes later, the ward fell quiet again. The man lit a cigarette. When are you finally going to get Lu Yanchen under control? Shen Wanqing snatched the cigarette from his hand, took a drag, and exhaled a cloud of smoke. I don't know what's gotten into him lately, but he's even daring to ignore me now. A vicious glint flashed in Shen Wanqing's eyes. But the wedding date is approaching. I can't just sit back and wait any longer. Before, you just tampered with the accidents to make Su Jixia's injuries worse. This time, I want you to finish her off for good. The man pulled Shen Wanqing into his embrace once more. Well, Aren't you a real femme fatale? I like it. Meanwhile, Lu Yanchen searched the entire Lu family estate but found no trace of Su Jixia. He contacted every friend of Su Jixia he knew, and they all said they hadn't been in touch with her recently. Lu Yanchen went to find his grandfather, hoping to get news of Su Jixia from him. Grandpa, has Jixia come back today? The old mister. Lu fell silent for a long time before finally saying, "Don't go looking for Jixia anymore." Lu Yanchen was completely stunned. Grandpa, what? What do you mean by that? Old Master Lu sighed and shook his head. Even though Jixia asked me not to tell you, I still have to advise you to give up. She has already left the Lu family. Lu Yanchen was completely stunned, replaying his grandfather's words in his mind over and over. It's impossible. Jixia, how could she leave me? She clearly loved me so much. She never left me through all those accidents before. How could she possibly choose to leave me on her own? He felt as if a piece of his heart had been torn out. It wasn't just because Su Jixia had left, it was also because he suspected that Su Jixia must have found out something, which was why she left so suddenly. Old Master Lu shook his head and said, Jixia said she left because she can no longer have children and didn't want to hold you back any longer. But I know the truth, it's because you broke her heart. Now she's given up all hope in you and has chosen to leave. The old man warned Lu Yanchen sternly, don't you dare bother Jixia again. If you do, I'll disown you as my grandson. Lu Yanchen slumped to the floor, muttering to himself, impossible. How could she leave over something so trivial? I didn't do anything that terrible. Old Master Lu frowned at him. What on earth did you do? Why was that girl Jixia so utterly heartbroken? Lu Yanchen looked dazed. Yes, what had he done? Suddenly, he thought of something and scrambled towards Su Jixia's villa. He entered the code and rushed inside, only to find all the valuable ornaments gone, even the oil painting worth tens of millions, the very one he had given Su Jixia as a coming-of-age gift, was gone. Lu Yanchen realized something. He dashed upstairs like a madman and found the locked diary on the bedroom desk. The lock was now open. Following the bookmark, Lu Yanchen clearly saw the first line, to Mr. Lu, this is the first time I've addressed you this way, and it will be the last. I hope we never meet again. Perhaps you never knew, but each of those 27 accidents in the past hurt so deeply I didn't want to go on living. The day I lost the baby, I even thought about leaving this world to follow them, but after you came into my life, my world brightened again. I truly, deeply wanted to marry you, yet when I discovered who was behind those 27 accidents, my heart died completely, so, I choose to wish you happiness. After reading the brief words in the diary, Lu Yanchen felt as if something had seized his throat, leaving him unable to breathe, his hands trembling. He opened Su Jixia's old diaries, which recorded her feelings upon encountering her 27th accident. I'm so clumsy, I can't even pick a decent pair of shoes, and I had to go and fall down the stairs, ending up with a comminuted fracture. Now I have to trouble Yanchen to take care of me again. I thought I'd never see Yanchen again, but when I saw him jump into the water to save me, I was so incredibly happy. She blamed every single accident on her own carelessness. She even believed that every time he came to her rescue, it was because he cared for her. Reading how Su Jixia relied on him so completely in her diary, seeing herself as the most important person in her life, Lu Yanchen was completely overcome with sobs. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It felt as if a piece of his heart had been carved out, and every breath he took brought with it an agony that felt fatal. He couldn't bear to imagine how heartbroken the pure and lovely Su Jixia would be upon discovering that it had all been his deception. Flipping further back, it was from a time before he had made his move on Su Jixia. Su Jixia's diary was filled to the brim with her adoration for him. In her eyes, he was the finest man in the world. Seeing those once happy memories, Lu Yanchen could no longer hold back and broke down in tears. He still remembered how he used to stand up for her. He still remembered how adorable she was when she kept calling him brother Yanchen. But when did all of this start to change? 11. Lu Yanchen still remembers to this day how terrified he was the first time he made a move against Su Jixia. He wasn't sure if he was really going to stage an accident for Su Jixia. After all, she was the little sister he'd watched grow up. Yet another voice in his head insisted it would be just this once. All he needed was to make her back down. Who says that just because everyone approves of them, he has to accept Su Jixia? She is just his sister, and can only ever be his sister. The first time he saw Su Jixia hospitalized with such severe injuries, he slapped himself over and over, but someone quickly stopped him, telling him that two people who don't love each other can never be happy. He was helping Su Jixia find release. What he did was right, yet Su Jixia didn't back down as he had expected. Instead, she became even more eager to marry him. To make her give up, his actions grew harsher, and his heart grew increasingly numb. Shen Wanqing, it was her. She was the one who instigated all of this. Lu Yanchen stood up, his fists clenched. Shen Wanqing orchestrated all of this. She told me it was just a minor injury, that Su Jixia would be fine. She kept telling me it was for Jixia's own good, convincing me over and over that this would be the last time. Every time he felt he was going too far with Su Jixia, it was Shen Wanqing whispering in his ear, egging him on to go for it without hesitation. Shen Wanqing is the one to blame for all of this. Who is Shen Wanqing? What have you done to Jixia? Fearing something had happened to his grandson, old Master Lu rushed over and arrived just in time to hear the young man's words. He frowned and snatched the diary right out of Lu Yanchen's hands. After finishing the diary, he was trembling with rage. He never could have imagined that all 27 of Su Jixia's accidents were meticulously orchestrated by his own grandson. How could you do this, old master? Lu raised his hand and delivered a stinging slap across Lu Yanchen's face. What the Lu family owes the Su family goes far beyond just a few lives. If the Su family hadn't given up their chance of survival for the Lu family back then, the Lu family would have been wiped out long ago. How could they possibly be living this comfortable life now? You beast! How could my Lu family have produced a scoundrel like you? All that remained in old Master Lu's heart now was regret. I regret not going to Su Jixia to get a clear answer. I regret not teaching Lu Yanchen a lesson earlier. Why didn't he protect Jixia even though he was being beaten? Lu Yanchen stubbornly held on to the old master's hand and refused to let go. Grandfather, I need to find Jixia. I want to start over with her. Please, will you help me? Old Master Lu was itching to slap him a few more times, but he knew that physical pain was the least of it. To truly make Lu Yanchen pay for his actions, he had to break his spirit. She must have left in the early hours. You'll have to find out which flight yourself. Without a moment's hesitation, Lu Yanchen immediately set out to investigate the early morning flights, but there were many flights in the early hours, and no amount of money could make the airlines disclose Su Jixia's personal information. In the end, he had no choice but to hire a private investigator to look into it. He spent the entire night wide awake. Wait, that ring. Lu Yanchen suddenly remembered something and hurriedly pulled out his phone. So it was true, the ring I helped Su Jixia find on the beach that year was the very one that got melted down. He bit down until his gums bled, pounding his fists against the wall in a futile attempt to vent the crushing weight of his regret. I knew exactly how important that ring was to Su Jixia back then. How could I have forgotten? Had I really stopped caring about her? Did I really give all my trust to Shen Wanqing? At the thought of Shen Wanqing, Lu Yanchen gritted his teeth. Shen Wanqing. It's time we settled our score. At 8 in the morning, Lu Yanchen drove to the hospital, but before he could reach Shen Wanqing's hospital room, the bodyguard assigned to protect her came to find him on his own initiative. Mr. Lu, there's something I'm not sure if I should tell you. If you have something to say, then spit it out. Only then did the bodyguard recount what he had seen and heard. While you were away, your friend, Dr. Luo, was frequently in and out of Miss Shen's room, and each visit lasted for hours. Lu Yanchen was taken aback, not yet grasping what the bodyguard meant. The bodyguard looked as if he had nothing left to lose. Last night, I was using the restroom next door and ended up hearing intimate sounds coming from Miss Shen's hospital room through the window. Later, I waited and watched, and the man who came out was Dr. Luo. Upon hearing this, Lu Yanchen felt his blood run cold. Just then, Shen Wanqing's call came through. Shen Wanqing's voice was as soft and cloyingly sweet as ever. Yanchen, do you have time to keep me company today? Lu Yanchen's lips moved, but in the end, he told a lie. I'm a bit busy today. Oh, but I really wanted you to spend time with me. I'll come see you when I have time. Lu Yanchen hung up the phone coldly and hurried toward the hospital room. Just as he reached the door, he heard a coquettish moan coming from inside. You're amazing, Brother Chow. Harder. 12. Lu Yanchen stood outside the door, listening for a long time. His initial impulse was to kick the door down and kill them both on the spot, but the thought of Su Jixia made him regain his composure. Only after the two of them had stopped did he, with a numb expression, make the call to Shen Wanqing. Shen Wanqing, Jixia is missing. Do you know where she went? Shen Wanqing was about to hang up, but upon hearing Lu Yanchen mention Su Jixia, she hastily pushed the man off of her. Yanchen, what do you mean by that? Is Sister Jixia missing? As she spoke, she deliberately stirred the pot. You've been ignoring me lately. It's not because she's throwing another tantrum, is it? In the past, Lu Yanchen would have been furious at her words, but today he just gave a nonchalant response. Fine, if you don't know where she is, forget it, I'll find her myself. This was the first time Shen Wanqing had been treated with such cold indifference by him. Furious, she threw the phone, her eyes brimming with venom. What on earth did that bitch Su Zhisha do? Why is Lu Yanchen acting like a completely different person today? Just yesterday he promised to bulldoze her family's ancestral graves, and now he has the nerve to hang up on me. Luo Chao wrapped his arms around the furious Shen Wanqing from behind, soothing her. What are you afraid of? No matter what she does, Yanchen loves you. Just use a little trick, and you can fool that idiot Lu Yanchen into continuing to torment Su Zhisha until she wishes she were dead. Before, I only made Su Zhisha's injuries worse. Since you want her dead this time, I'll handle it personally. I can guarantee no one will be able to tell it was anything but an accident. Luo Chao kissed Shen Wanqing while tempting her. But you have to speed things up. If Lu Yanchen catches on, we'll never get our hands on the Lu family fortune. What more can I possibly do? Last time, I hired a hacker to forge the chat logs and framed Su Zhisha for secretly photographing me and Lu Yanchen. He only got angry for a little while. No problem. If framing her won't work, then we'll just finish her off for good. Leave it to me. You can count on it. Outside the door, Lu Yanchen gritted his teeth so hard they creaked upon hearing this. So that's why. He had always wondered why. Even when he hadn't intended to hurt Su Zhisha so badly, her injuries always ended up being far worse than he had anticipated. So it was Shen Wanqing and Luo Chao scheming behind the scenes all along. One was the woman he loved most, the other his closest brother. Not only had they both betrayed him, but they had also conspired to murder Zhisha. Upon hearing this, Lu Yanchen could hold back no longer. He shut the door open and barged in, his bodyguards immediately following close behind. The door burst open, startling the two people entangled in the room. Shen Wanqing, who was completely naked, immediately ducked under the covers upon seeing Lu Yanchen. Brother Yanchen, you weren't supposed to come today, brother. Yanchen, please let me explain. Before Shen Wanqing could finish speaking, Lu Yanchen grabbed her by the hair, yanking her violently from the bed onto the floor, then dragged her out of the room. Shen Wanqing cried out in pain, but Lu Yanchen showed no intention of stopping. Tell me, what exactly did you do to Zhisha? Lu Yanchen stared at Shen Wanqing with a flat, emotionless gaze, but she couldn't bring herself to meet his eyes. She could see the murderous rage simmering beneath Lu Yanchen's calm exterior. Yanchen, it's all a misunderstanding. I can explain. A misunderstanding. Framing Zhisha for voyeurism, having an affair with Luo Chao, and conspiring with him to target my Lu family. All of that is just a misunderstanding. Lu Yanchen was truly filled with homicidal intent, but remembering they were in a hospital, he managed to restrain his impulse. Lu Yanchen grabbed Shen Wanqing by the throat. You lied to me, brainwashed me, all because you wanted Zhisha dead, didn't you? His grip tightened, a burning desire to end Shen Wanqing right then and there. Sensing the murderous intent, Shen Wanqing hastily denied it. It wasn't me. You're the one who hated her. You're the one who acted. You're the one who planned it. It has nothing to do with me. 13. What did you say? Lu Yanchen was momentarily distracted, and the strength in his grip suddenly slackened. Seizing the opportunity, Shen Wanqing struggled free. She collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath, then pointed at Lu Yanchen and burst into unrestrained laughter. Was I wrong? Every single one of those 27 injuries was your doing. Lu Yanchen, you still don't get it, do you? It wasn't me, or those setbacks, that made Su Zhisha give up on you. It was the moment she realized all that pain was meticulously planned by you. That's when her heart broke completely, and she decided she was done with you. You think Su Zhisha hates me? No, from beginning to end. The only person who could ever truly hurt her was you. Lu Yanchen staggered back a step, his face deathly pale, unable to utter a single word in rebuttal because he, too, realized that Shen Wanqing was right. In each of the previous 27 postponements of their engagement, Su Zhisha was left utterly devastated, barely escaping death in the emergency room. Yet when Su Zhisha's friends joked that he was jinxing her, she argued back, insisting it was simply her own bad luck. During the 20th incident, Su Zhisha suffered carbon monoxide poisoning while barbecuing and remained unconscious for 48 hours before finally waking up. The moment she regained consciousness, she tearfully took his hand and said with remorse, Yanchen, I'm so sorry, the wedding will have to be postponed again. I'm so useless. I can't even watch a stove without causing an accident. I keep letting you down. In truth, it wasn't Su Zhisha's fault at all. He had bribed the camp staff long ago, deliberately shutting off the ventilation duct when she was alone in the tent, orchestrating this entire accident. Seeing her sobbing uncontrollably at that moment, he felt a pang of doubt for the first time. Yet, all too quickly, That flicker of reluctance was utterly disarmed and swept away by Shen Wanqing's tender affections. It was he who, through repeated schemes, left Su Zhixia battered and broken, ultimately costing her their child, and it was he who, time and again, put Su Zhixia's devotion to the test. He claimed his intent was to make her back down from the hardship, but deep down, he knew better than anyone how profoundly devoted Su Zhixia was to him. She would never give up because of external pressure. The only person who could truly make Su Zhixia give up on him was himself. Realizing this, Lu Yanchen wished he could just stab himself to death. No, I can't die yet. I have to find Zhixia and bring her back. If only she would forgive me, I'd kneel and accept any punishment. Even if it meant becoming a cripple, I wouldn't care. Just as Lu Yanchen was about to go find Su Zhixia, Old Master Lu arrived on the scene. Yanchen, this is indeed your fault. If you truly want Zhixia to forgive you, you should focus on finding her first, not waste time here. As if waking from a dream, Lu Yanchen finally released the half-dead Shen Wanqing and hurriedly left the hospital, having narrowly escaped death. Shen Wanqing and Luo Chao, still undressed, hastily expressed their gratitude to the old master. Old Master Lu's face was icy cold. Who said I was saving you? Daring to lay a hand on our Zhixia means you're making an enemy of the Lu family. The two of you deserve to die. With that, he waved his hand and had the two men taken away. As for what fate awaited them, given the old master's methods, it certainly wouldn't be pleasant. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Su Zhixia had already landed, but she didn't stop there. She immediately caught a connecting flight to another destination. For the sake of his so-called duty and the Lu family's reputation, Lu Yanchen would undoubtedly move heaven and earth to bring her back. The best course of action now was to vanish without a trace, leaving him with no trail to follow. If she could just lay low for a month, long enough for the wedding to pass, Lu Yanchen would surely stop looking for her. Then he could be with Shen Wanqing without a second thought and live their happy life together, and she, at last, would be truly free. A few days later, Su Zhixia stopped in a seaside town in northern Europe. This island was the destination of her family's group trip all those years ago. They used to come here every summer to escape the heat, but after that accident, she's the only one left in the family now. In the past, Lu Yanchen always refused to bring her here, using the excuse that he was afraid the sight would stir up painful memories. Setting foot on this land again after 10 years, she was overwhelmed with a flood of emotions. Her life almost ended here, and now, she's going to start over right here. 14. When Su Zhixia found the villa from memory, it was nothing like the overgrown ruin she had imagined. Instead, it was fragrant with flowers, neat and tidy, clearly well maintained over a long period. Strange, ever since the Su family was gone, the original staff had long since scattered, so who was taking care of this place? Just as Su Zhixia stood bewildered before the courtyard full of blossoms, she suddenly heard a long unheard, yet familiar sound of Mandarin. Hey, you're Chinese, right? A woman in a sundress, with a head of wavy long hair, stepped out, holding a watering can. Despite her impeccable makeup and elegant demeanor, her smile was warm and friendly. Su Zhixia hesitated for a moment, then nodded and introduced herself. Yes, I am. My name is Su Zhixia. This property should have been left by my family, and you are. Before Su Zhixia could finish her sentence, the woman across from her let out a delighted cry, her face lighting up with surprise, and pulled her into a tight embrace. Little Zhixia, is it really you? It's me, Aunt Su Rue, your mother's best friend. Our families were so close back then. We even bought 2 townhouses next to each other on this island. Do you remember? Memories of those happy times from the past flooded her heart, and Su Zhixia's eyes instantly welled up with tears. Su Rue's voice also choked with emotion. My dear child, it's been 10 years. I've finally seen you again. If the Lu family hadn't taken you in directly back then, I had planned to bring you to live with me myself. All these years, I've wanted to visit you countless times, but that young man from the Lu family always stopped me, using the excuse of protecting you. Su Zhixia wasn't the least bit surprised to hear this. Lu Yanchen was always like this, restricting her interactions with others under the banner of doing what was best for her, just like her, thinking she was giving the other person what she believed was best, without ever considering their thoughts and feelings. When Su Rue saw Su Zhixia again, she had so much to say she couldn't stop talking. Over the past decade, missing her old friend, Su Rue would often bring her whole family here for short stays. Zhixia, you've gotten so thin. Have you been eating properly all these years? Su Rue gently stroked Su Zhixia's cheek, her face full of concern. She nudged the pastries she had made closer to her, urging her to eat more. Su Zhixia ate the sweet pastry, yet tears began to fall. In that moment, it was as if she saw her own mother if her mother were still here. She surely wouldn't have the heart to see her lose herself, tormented by love. Just as Su Jixia was feeling melancholy, a crisp chime suddenly rang from the wind chimes at the villa's entrance. "Mom, did you bake butter cookies today? It smells amazing." A man in a white shirt walked in, and as he turned his head, his gaze met Su Jixia's. He had fair skin and deep, slightly upturned peach blossom eyes, clearly inheriting Su Rui's fine genes. The lower half of his face was sharply defined, with a chiseled, statuesque quality that gave him a strikingly mixed-race appearance. Before Su Jixia could even speak, his face flushed crimson and he stammered out a question. "Are you, Sister Jixia, 15?" Su Jixia soon learned the other person's identity. Su Rui's son with her French husband, Su Yuming, who was 3 years younger than her. But how had the chubby little brother who always trailed after her in her memories suddenly turned into such a handsome, tall man? Su Jixia stood up and extended her hand toward Su Yuming with natural grace. "I'm Su Jixia. It's been a long time." Su Yuming stiffly reached out to shake her hand, his ears flushing crimson. "It's been a while. I'm Su Yuming. Please, have a seat. Let me go change my clothes." With that, Su Yuming dashed up to the second floor. Su Jixia watched his retreating figure with some confusion, while Su Rui was already doubled over with laughter at the table. Who would have thought that even after all these years, that kid still likes you so much? "Do you remember, Jixia, back when our family celebrated Yuming's birthday together?" He wrote down his birthday wish with the utmost seriousness. "It was to marry Sister Jixia when I grow up." Recalling that scene, Su Jixia's face flushed slightly. "That was just a childish joke from when we were kids. Auntie, please don't bring it up again, or Yuming will feel awkward." The sound of hurried footsteps descending the stairs came from behind Su Jixia. Su Rui gestured with her chin toward the source and whispered with a mischievous grin, "I'm not so sure about that." Su Jixia turned to look and was immediately stunned. In such a short time, Su Yuming had dressed in a crisp suit, his slightly wavy hair neatly styled with gel, not a strand out of place. He had transformed in an instant from a youthful college boy into a distinguished and elegant business professional. "Sorry to keep you waiting, Jixia." Su Rui, seeing right through her son's thoughts, immediately stood up. "Jixia, you've just arrived, so you must have a lot of daily necessities to buy. Let Yuming drive you. He knows this area very well." Given such warm hospitality, Su Jixia had no reason to refuse. At the supermarket, Su Yuming effortlessly picked out some snacks, all flavors Su Jixia used to love. But just as Su Jixia reached for a bag of bread, he reached out and stopped her. "This has chestnuts in it. I remember you used to be allergic to them, Jixia. Better not get it." Hearing those words, Su Jixia froze completely. She had spent 10 years with Lu Yanchen day and night, yet he never remembered her allergy. He even scolded her for being ungrateful when she refused Shen Wanqing's chestnuts. Yet this young man before her, separated for a decade, could remember it so clearly. It turns out, when someone truly holds you in their heart, time and distance are never an issue. So, she was worthy of being treated with genuine care. After all, 16. In the days that followed, Su Jixia lived very happily. She joined Su Rui's company, which was the business her mother and Su Rui had co-founded in the past. Carrying her mother's unfulfilled dream, Su Rui had great confidence in Su Jixia, and entrusted her with the CEO position. As soon as she joined the company, Su Jixia lived up to her expectations, tripling the company's market value in less than 6 months. In her spare time, she would go shopping with Su Rui and participate in community activities together. As time went on, she became increasingly aware of her growing dependence on the Su family. That evening, Su Jixia was once again invited by Su Rui to have dinner at the Su residence. Not long after dinner, Su Yuming suddenly cried out in the living room, "Oh no, I spilled coffee on my laptop. This has the presentation for my evaluation tomorrow. I'm done for. If I fail this, I'll definitely have to delay my graduation." Watching him howl in pain, Su Rui laughed and scolded, "Serves you right for always being so reckless. Maybe this will teach you a lesson." Su Jixia stepped forward to take a look. "Don't panic," she said, "let me have a look." The computer wouldn't boot up at all, so Su Jixia went ahead and took it apart. Seeing that the hard drive was still intact, she removed it and connected it to her own computer. With just a quick glance, Su Jixia understood exactly what Su Yuming was trying to do. Su Yuming also majored in market economics, making him, technically, her junior. She had glanced at his report earlier and had some recollection of its contents. "The data might trigger a protective rollback. Let me handle it for you." When Su Jixia fluently entered several sets of core data, Su Yuming's eyes were filled with astonishment. Su Jixia simply smiled with an air of nonchalance. Even during her university years abroad, she had already been managing the affairs of the Liu family's overseas market division. One could say that half the credit for the Liu family's successful expansion into foreign markets belongs to her. She simply considered such matters beneath mention, and Liu Yanchen had long grown accustomed to it, so few others were ever aware. After work the next day, Su Yuming insisted on taking Su Jixia to see a performance. "Jixia, you really saved me yesterday, you have to say yes. Besides, this is money I saved up from 3 months of part-time work. I've wanted to go out with you for the longest time." Seeing Su Yuming's flushed cheeks, Su Jixia was momentarily transported. Seeing a reflection of her past self in the past, she too had secretly taken on part-time jobs, just to afford a decent gift for Liu Yanchen. With money she had saved for a long time, she bought a single cufflink she had painstakingly chosen. Liu Yanchen had accepted it with a gentle smile back then, but 3 years later, she discovered those gifts, now covered in a thick layer of dust, stored away in the utility room. "All right," Su Jixia agreed with a smile. She knew Liu Yanchen had deliberately spilled water on the computer, and she also knew he was just looking for an excuse to ask her out, but she didn't mind his little schemes. May those who break a sincere heart be cursed to swallow 10,000 needles. Having been hurt before, she had no desire to inflict that same pain on anyone else. On the day of the performance, Su Yuming arrived early to wait outside the Su family's door. When Su Jixia emerged from the doorway in a red dress and light makeup, he was so dazzled he forgot to blink. Su Jixia actually possessed a strikingly beautiful and elegant appearance, but she had unconsciously toned down her own radiance because Liu Yanchen preferred a more girl-next-door style. Yet today, with just a touch of makeup, she became utterly enchanting, alluring, and radiant. Seeing Su Yuming standing there with his mouth agape, speechless for a long moment, Su Jixia felt a bit bashful. "Does it not suit me?" "No, no, no, it's absolutely perfect." Su Yuming's eyes sparkled as he said with a smile, "Jixia, you look absolutely stunning." Su Jixia laughed along with him. It had been a long time since she had laughed so genuinely and wholeheartedly. Su Ruwei was watering the garden when she saw the handsome pair. She couldn't help but say, "Jixia, you look so beautiful today. I feel like my son isn't even good enough for you." Su Jixia grew a little flustered. "Auntie Su, after all, she was 3 years older than Su Yuming and had been divorced once. Even though Su Ruwei was very kind to her, she still worried she wouldn't be accepted. "No need to explain. Seeing the two of you together makes me happier than anything." Su Ruwei beamed from ear to ear. "Of course, what I really hope is that you'll give my silly son a chance, so I can rightfully become your mother-in-law." Su Jixia was taken aback for a moment, her cheeks flushing crimson immediately, while Su Yuming just gazed at her with a silly grin. The evening's performance was absolutely spectacular. It was Su Jixia's first time attending a live rock band show. Perhaps it was because Su Yuming was there by her side, looking after her and keeping the mood lively, that she felt a sense of relaxation and joy like never before. At midnight, after watching the final fireworks display, the two of them walked out of the theater chatting and laughing. Just as the two were about to get in the car and leave, Su Jixia suddenly froze in front of the vehicle. Following Su Jixia's gaze, Su Yuming spotted the unfamiliar Chinese face in the crowd and asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Do you know him?" Before Su Jixia could utter a word, Liu Yanchen had already walked up to her. He stared at her, his face a mask of betrayed fury. "Jixia, is this the pretty boy you jilted me and ran away for?" Liu Yanchen used to always accuse Su Jixia of being overly sensitive, but now, the mere sight of Su Yuming standing before her was enough to drive him mad with jealousy. He desperately needed to hear a denial from Su Jixia's lips to put his mind at ease. Su Jixia's red lips parted as she replied coldly, "I am not as despicable as you think." The tension in Liu Yanchen's brow eased slightly, and he was just about to offer some conciliatory words when he heard Su Jixia add another cold remark. "I left because I fell out of love with you." 17. Liu Yanchen never expected to hear such an answer, and he panicked instantly. "Jixia, I know you're just saying that in the heat of the moment. It was all my fault. You have every right to be angry. Punish me however you want. I'm begging you. Just please stop avoiding me." Okay. This was the first time Su Jixia had ever seen Liu Yanchen acting so servile and groveling, but she didn't soften. Instead, she asked coldly, "What exactly are you here for?" If she had been this cold to him in the past, Liu Yanchen would have stormed off long ago, but this time, he held back. In a humble tone, he pleaded, "Could you spare me 10 minutes? Let's have a proper talk." Su Jixia never imagined Lu Yanchen would endure this much for her sake. After much deliberation, she decided it was best to clear the air with him. She turned to Su Yuming with a gentle look. "Yuming," she said softly, "please get in the car and wait for me." Su Yuming gave a nod, casting a warning glance at Lu Yanchen. Alone with Lu Yanchen, Su Jixia got straight to the point. "Tell me, did Grandpa force you to come find me?" In her view, there was only one reason Lu Yanchen would seek her out. Pressure from Old Master Lu. It wasn't Grandpa, it was me. Lu Yanchen was terrified Su Jixia would misunderstand. I saw your diary. I'm sorry, I never imagined the things I did would hurt you so deeply. After you left, I was filled with regret every single moment. I kept asking myself, how could I have done something so terrible? If I ever get another chance, I promise I'll treat you right. Jixia, I truly regret it." For the first time, Su Jixia felt impatient with Lu Yanchen. Her face turned cold as she sneered. "So what if you regret it? Does regret change the fact that you hurt me?" She loved him, but that was no excuse for him to hurt her so carelessly. Besides, she didn't love him anymore. Lu Yanchen panicked a little. He had expected Su Jixia to reject him, but he never imagined her reaction would be this intense. "Jixia, I'm sorry, I know I was wrong. If you're willing to come back with me, I'll do anything you ask." But Su Jixia reacted as if she had just heard the most ridiculous joke in the world. "Lu Yanchen, do you really think that after everything you've done, a simple apology is enough, that I can just pretend nothing happened and go back to living like a fool by your side?" Su Jixia's laughter gradually faded, her eyes welling up with tears. "What do you take me for? A dog you can summon and dismiss at your whim?" Lu Yanchen hurriedly explained. "Jixia, I never thought that way. You will always be the most important person to me. I know my sins are unforgivable, but I will spend the rest of my life atoning for them. I didn't actually demolish your family's cemetery, I just wanted to scare you. I had them rebuild it later. It was only after you left that I realized the one I love is you. I have never loved anyone else. I just didn't want to follow the path my grandfather had laid out for me. I mistakenly thought that being with Shen Wanqing was a way to find myself. And that's why I kept letting her use me and ended up hurting you so many times. Now, Shen Wanqing's fingers and eyes are ruined. She can never play the piano again. The Shen family went bankrupt overnight, and I've fired every single doctor and nurse from that hospital. They're banned from ever working in healthcare again." Lu Yanchen was afraid that if he didn't speak now, he might never get another chance. "You see, I've made everyone who hurt you pay the price. Jixia, please, just give me one more chance, okay?" Su Jixia didn't feel moved upon hearing this. On the contrary, she found it utterly ridiculous. So he wasn't unaware after all. The people at the hospital and Shen Wanqing had been bullying her all along. It was simply because he didn't care that he allowed them to hurt her so freely. When it came down to it, both she and Shen Wanqing were nothing more than playthings in Lu Yanchen's eyes. At this thought, Su Jixia sneered coldly. "Lu Yanchen, give it up. No matter what you do, I will never forgive you. The greatest misfortune of my life was meeting you. I will never forget what you did to me. If I could, I would wish to never lay eyes on you again. Not in this life or any other." Seeing her speak with such finality, Lu Yanchen finally panicked, but no matter how desperately he pleaded, Su Jixia never looked back. She had a new family, new friends, and a new career. Su Jixia was no longer the woman who could only survive by depending on Lu Yanchen. From now on, she would live only for herself. Although Su Jixia's attitude was resolute, Lu Yanchen still lingered outside her door every day in the following days, yet he did not disturb her, choosing instead to wait by the entrance each day with a fresh bouquet of flowers. At first, Su Jixia wasn't used to it either, but later on, it didn't matter anymore. Seeing her remain unmoved, Lu Yanchen had to resort to a roundabout approach. Thinking of winning Su Rui over, he prepared jewelry worth hundreds of millions as a gift for their meeting, but with just one sentence from Su Rui, he was utterly defeated. "If you come clean and tell us what you did to Jixia, I might be able to help you." Lu Yanchen was left speechless. He knew that if he confessed those things, he would be even less likely to be forgiven, but fate had a cruel twist. Just as Lu Yanchen's visa was about to expire and he was ready to give up, Su Jixia received a critical condition notice from the hospital regarding Old Master Lu. After all, he was the old man who had raised her for 10 years. There was no way she wouldn't go back to see him. Su Yuming didn't say a word. He simply slipped his own luggage into Su Jixia's suitcase while she was packing. "You can go back if you want, but you have to take me with you, otherwise, I'd worry about some random person clinging to you and not letting you leave." Su Jixia had intended to bring him along anyway. Seeing him act so stubborn, she didn't bother to take his luggage out. The two of them took the earliest flight back to the country together, upon learning that Su Jixia had returned. Lu Yanchen was overjoyed and personally went to the airport to meet her. But when he saw Su Jixia disembark from the plane with her arm linked through Su Yuming's, his face instantly fell. Without so much as a glance at Lu Yanchen, Su Jixia went directly to the hospital with Su Yuming. Old Master Lu was thrilled to see Su Jixia. Jixia, you're back, Grandpa. Seeing the emaciated Old Master Lu, Su Jixia burst into tears. She never imagined that in just the few months she had been gone, Old Master Lu's health would have deteriorated to this extent. Grandpa Lu was now gasping for breath after every sentence. Don't cry, Jixia. When you cry, my heart aches with you. Have you been well abroad? Su Jixia nodded and tightly grasped Grandpa Lu's hand. I've been fine. Grandpa Lu glanced at Su Yuming, who was standing silently to the side, as if understanding something, and let out a soft sigh. After that, the old man chatted with Su Jixia for a long time. The old man suffered a sudden cerebral infarction. While the surgery saved his life, he'll never fully recover to his former self, let alone participate in the company's management and decision-making. Over the past few years, without you by Yanchen's side to assist him, the Lu Group would have likely collapsed long ago. Recently, the Lu Group's overseas valuation has dropped by 40%. If this continues, bankruptcy is only a matter of time. At this point, his expression turned troubled. Jixia, I know you can't forgive Yanchen, but could I ask you to return as a partner and help the Lu family through this crisis one more time? Su Jixia's brow twitched slightly, but before she could speak, Su Yuming stepped forward and spoke in a low, firm voice. Old Master Lu, by rights, these words shouldn't come from an outsider like me, but as I now consider myself part of Jixia's family, I can't stand by and watch her be mistreated. Don't talk about 10 years of raising her, for your Lu family. The Su family sacrificed 4 lives back then, add the child your grandson destroyed. That makes 5 lives. Your Lu family could never repay Jixia's debt in this lifetime or the next. How dare you try to guilt-trip her now? Su Yuming was about to speak again when Su Jixia cut him off. Yuming, please leave the room for now. Su Yuming let out an indignant huff, but obediently left. He had barely stepped out when Lu Yanchen barged in. Jixia, please, just hear me out for a moment longer. His eyes were filled with sincerity, bloodshot as if he hadn't had a good night's sleep in days. Su Jixia glanced at the old master and finally gave a nod. Lu Yanchen was immensely grateful and hurriedly said, Jixia, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I didn't value our relationship before. I thought my feelings for you were merely fraternal, but after you left, I realized how deeply I love you. I swear before Grandpa, if you can come back, I will cherish and care for you, I promise. Su Jixia suddenly spoke up, her voice cold and sharp. If you truly respected Grandpa, you wouldn't say such things. Just seeing you in front of me now makes me sick. In all his life, this was the first time Lu Yanchen had ever been rejected so bluntly and without mercy, and of all people, it was Su Jixia, the same Su Jixia who had loved him for 10 years, the one whose eyes had once held only him. Lu Yanchen seemed to lose all his strength at once, slumping dejectedly onto the edge of the hospital bed. Su Jixia turned to look at Old Master Lu. Grandfather, I have never been one to demand repayment for a favor, not in the past, and never in the future, but our Su family has already done more than enough for the Lu family. I want nothing more to do with Lu Yanchen, no matter the capacity. I have no wish to see him again. I will still come to visit you, but only as a junior who has received your kindness. As for any other expectations you may have, I'm afraid I cannot oblige. Su Jixia's tone was flat, yet her words carried an undeniable weight. A heavy silence fell over the room. Lu Yanchen tried to speak again, but was cut off by Old Master Lu. Yanchen, let Jixia go. Old Master Lu closed his eyes wearily. I was being foolish just now. Whatever happens to the Lu family in the future, we brought it upon ourselves. The debt we owe the Su family can never be repaid. I'm sorry, Jixia, for all the grievances you've suffered these years. When I die, I will go and apologize to your family. Hearing this, Lu Yanchen knew he had truly lost Su Jixia forever. She would never forgive him. Su Jixia ignored Lu Yanchen. After urging the old man to take care of his health, she left the hospital room. She had no idea when she would return, but she knew she finally had the freedom to choose. Is everything taken care of? Su Yuming still harbored resentment towards Su Jixia for having kicked him out earlier. Su Jixia nodded with a smile. All taken care of. Let's go home. Bathed in sunlight, she reached out her hand to Su Yuming for the first time. The next moment, Su Yuming interlaced his fingers with hers. holding on tight. From this day forward, Su Jixia was no longer the Su Jixia of the Liu family. She is her own person, and her future will be brilliant. 18 Extra story, Su Yiming's perspective. The day Jixia and I got married was a rare sunny day in the rainy season. Under the gaze of everyone, she walked slowly towards me, smiling in her wedding dress, unable to quiet my pounding heart. I rushed over before Jixia could get any closer and swept her into my arms. The guests all laughed at my impatience, but they didn't know I had been waiting for this moment for 20 years. The first time we met as kids, Jixia wore a snow-white gauze dress, and when she smiled, 2 faint dimples appeared on her cheeks. While I stood there blushing and stunned, she took the initiative to extend her hand to me. Hello, I'm Su Jixia. In stark contrast to her angelically cute appearance was her fiery, passionate, and courageous personality. When the burly white kid stopped me again to extort money, I was about to just pay up like I always had before. Jixia rushed over, kicked the kid away, and stood protectively in front of me with her hands on her hips. If you ever dare to bully him again, I'll beat you up every single time I see you. Her English was clumsy, but she spoke with righteous conviction. From that moment on, Jixia barged into my life just like that, and for a long, long time, she held on to that most radiant position. We went wild together, played together, talked about everything under the sun, and shared our dreams for the future. See those stars? My dream is to become someone just like them, to stand tall, radiating light, and illuminating those lost in the darkness. Gazing at the starry sky, she smiled with a radiant and captivating warmth. I didn't have to wait until I grew up. She had already illuminated my world in that very moment. I thought Jixia would forever remain that vibrant and radiant soul, until the shipwreck that changed everything occurred. 4 lives from the Su family were wiped out in an instant, leaving Jixia as the sole survivor. Upon hearing the news, I could scarcely imagine the depth of Jixia's grief. My only thought was to bring Jixia home with us right away and care for her for a long, long time. Thankfully, Mom and Dad felt the same way, but when our family rushed to the hospital, we were told that Jixia had already been taken by the Liu family. Mom didn't dare waste a moment. She booked a flight for that very night and took me straight to the Liu family's home. In the opulent living room of the Liu family, I met Liu Yanchen for the first time. I will never let you take Jixia away. Liu Yanchen was dressed in a perfectly tailored, high-end suit. His expression was stern, exuding an air of noble pride. Jixia is a benefactor to our Liu family. My grandfather has decided to adopt her. From now on, she is my sister, Liu Yanchen's sister, and no one will take her away from me. I wanted to punch him, but my mother held me back. Holding back tears, my mother leaned down and pleaded with Liu Yanchen. All right, we won't take Jixia away. Could we just see her for a moment? To our surprise, even that request was denied. Jixia has been through a shock and is in no state to receive visitors. Her condition is unstable. The Liu family has already arranged the best psychiatrist for Jixia, and I will be by her side. We don't need outsiders meddling, especially not people like you. After Liu Yanchen finished speaking coldly, he had his bodyguards throw us out. After that, we tried to see Jixia many more times, both at the Liu residence and at her school. Without fail, Liu Yanchen had us turned away every single time. We never saw her again. So, 5 years into my marriage, I saw Liu Yanchen again. This time, it was my turn to stop him. I mean no harm. I just wanted to see Jixia from a distance. I won't disturb her. Liu Yanchen was wearing a crumpled trench coat, unshaven, with lifeless hair hanging down. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and he looked a decade older. Ever since the Liu family's bankruptcy saddled them with hundreds of billions in debt, he had vanished from the social scene, constantly on the run from creditors. When he saw me again, all traces of his former arrogance were gone. Instead, he was treading carefully. I glanced from a distance at Jixia, who was laughing with her daughter on the merry-go-round. After confirming they wouldn't be disturbed by our conversation, I gave a curt, expressionless nod. Liu Yanchen was overjoyed and thanked me profusely, repeating his gratitude several times. He looked up at Jixia, his gaze almost rapt, as if trying to etch her image into his very bones. Many years ago, Jixia and I also had a child, he murmured to himself, his eyes rimmed with red. That was the last chance heaven gave me. If I had cherished it, if I had let that child be born safely, the ending for Jixia and me would have been completely different. I stared at him coldly. Your casual what if nearly cost Jixia her life. Someone like you, who doesn't know how to cherish anything, doesn't deserve to have a child with anyone. Liu Yanchen shrank back, a pale, helpless bitter smile on his face. You're right, I don't deserve it. It's all my retribution. Otherwise, my grandfather wouldn't have passed away so soon. That caught me off guard. Old Master Liu passed away. We hadn't heard, over the years, Jixia had tried several times to visit old Master Lu, but the Lu family always gently declined, citing his need for quiet recuperation. He passed away not long after the Lu family went bankrupt. Lu Yanchen's face was full of desolation. Grandfather instructed us not to tell Jixia. He said he felt he had failed the family of his benefactor and didn't want to cause Jixia any more trouble or burden. He specifically ordered that there be no funeral and that his ashes be scattered at sea. It was a rather poignant end for a titan of industry. I glanced at Lu Yanchen's worn-out leather shoes and said flatly, "You're still young. The future of the Lu family rests on you. Don't give up so easily." Lu Yanchen looked at me and forced a weak smile. "I appreciate your kindness, but 3 months ago, I was diagnosed with a terminal illness. The doctor said I have, at most, 6 months left. It's precisely because my time is running out that I wanted to see Jixia one last time. Thank you for making my dream come true." He spoke with genuine emotion, a few tears falling as he bowed his head. As the carousel's music faded, a flicker of panic crossed Lu Yanchen's face. "Please, don't tell Jixia you saw me." "Not a single word." He finished speaking in a hurry and, without waiting for my reply, gathered his trench coat and strode off. I knew Lu Yanchen didn't want Jixia to see him in such a sorry state. I watched his figure disappear into the crowd. When I turned around, Jixia was already by my side, smiling, holding the hand of her skipping daughter. "Daddy, I want cotton candy, carry me to buy some." My daughter stood on her tiptoes.